up, everyone, and welcome to Impromptu Debate You, the show where the topics have yet to come because we are heading over to the Discord servers to see if we can have some counter-apologetic fun along
fishing. You get a line, I'll get a pole.
Along with any other topic that comes up, theology, science, how long is the girl deck? Won't you join us for an impromptu good time? Apparently. Woo! What is up? That's right. Welcome, everyone, to Impromptu Debate You. I want to thank you for joining us out there on the inner tubes. And please don't forget to hit that thumbs up icon because it sends us into the algorithm. Hello, algorithm. Hello, FBI. Hello, Mossad. It's good to say hello to your bosses. Anyway, thank you.
We've been talking to them all day. What's the big deal? You're talking to Mossad all day.
It's hard controlling not only, governments, but intergalactic planetary lizard people and lizard people societies. It's hard doing all that at the same time.
That shipment of infants coming from what planet was that? Zerkathor?
Zerkathor, yes.
Yeah.
Around Galaxy 587. Anyway, please don't forget to subscribe because it allows you to join the Skeptic and Ranting community by hitting that bell icon to all so that you get more premieres or to join our live streams. James, there is no North Pole. There is no Australia. It's all a lie.
How could you have a North Pole on a flat Earth?
Exactly. It just...
what is North? What is South?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Flat Earth or more. Yes. Anyway, we're going to give some quick shout-outs and all that type of stuff. Uh-oh. Oh, my God. I'm being told. Yes. Unfortunately, JIDF, they had to remove James for saying a little bit too much. And so he'll be back. He actually also sells timeshares along with me and Gilbert in hell. Lovely time. Lovely places. Hell. Contact your local travel agent today. Welcome back. And all right. So I'm going to just do a shout out fasty. And I swear the real time, because this is our debate show. So we try to be faster, but anyway, there are many ways to help us out. Boom. Like the aliens. Still, though, they might get here quicker than Jesus. That Jesus fellow, any day now.
Rubiks, if you want to get a North versus magnetic North, you should listen to go to the MC Toon channel and look at his discussions with Marissa. If you haven't seen those before, that will blow your mind. Remember Marissa? MC Toon?
Oh, yes.
Crazy lady?
Yes, you showed me. Yes, that lady.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with flat earthers and just... Well, it used to be our go-to that, you're as crazy as a flat earther. And I guess, oh my God, they keep on... James, we need to stick to only topics that Soros will allow us to speak about. I keep on trying to warn him. Sending love, Zolex. I use Grammarly, and I got an interesting question. I had to take a beginning of the year university meeting. It was a meeting. I'm trying to think of a fancy word for a meeting. And one of the questions a professor wanted to know is, does the AI, because students are starting to hand in papers that are completely AI generated, and you have to be able to, what's that?
Change my VPN server, see if that'll help out. Because
Good.
I have
Listen.
such respect for copyright laws and all that. Yeah.
Indeed. Listen, we need to support our valid whatever company is giving us money. That company, go you. The other companies, though, BitTorrent. What? Anyway, what's up, Wesley? What's up? Speaking of which, I'm just saying hello to everybody. It's a Rubiks and Zolix and Farron and Awoken One and Doorknob Head and Sumami and Zolox. Like I was saying, in Church of Robot, Sinister Purpose, this is davegar, woohoo! Is that, and anyone who I didn't get to say hi to, say hi. We'll keep on saying hi to you. But so they're checking for AI. We actually have a built-in. We now have 2 checkers in our grade book. One, which is how much does the system think that a student is plagiarizing from other people, and 2, or other sources. 2, how much does it think that it's being generated by AI? We now have 2 different barometers. And we wanted to make sure that, was Grammarly making any false positives? And this lady who was giving the presentation had an exact answer brought up. It's like, nope, Grammarly just changes your, excuse me while I call sentence structure of stuff that you already wrote, and so it doesn't actually change it into something that looks like someone else's, and so it will not be marked as AI. They're coughing again. Excuse me.
Like remember back when I was in high school? Yeah, everybody used to just download their papers from online. Can't get away with that anymore.
You cannot get away with that. It'll show you which website that it thinks that the student took it from on regular plagiarism, and AI, it'll just say this is being generated, send the paper back. Anything over 30%, send the paper back. And so, boo-boo-doo-boo-doo, you shouldn't cheat. All right, it's Zoshalex. I probably still didn't say it right, but I'll keep on trying. But said,
I guess you could find a couple of flat earthers out there who aren't totally stupid. It might Rubiks, so there you go.
Well,
I think 95% of them probably are.
Now, I will say,
who are.
And it's a fine line, because what is up, Captain Death, Fenton, everybody? Because I think sometimes you don't want to come off. So I say sometimes when you don't want to come off like an asshole in a debate or a bee, you want to be nice. However, at a certain level, oh my goodness, these people just
part of being intelligent, part of not being stupid, is realizing your own limitations, and people with very little background and relevant fields, and they just go through established bodies of science and just think they can just debunk them all on their kitchen table in 5 minutes. It's
James, they went to University of
Ken Hoven.
Yeah,
like Ken Hoven think he can debunk the entire field of geology with his Walmart sand toy. I'm sorry, Kent, it's a little more complicated than that, buddy.
And also, what is up, Farron? We are about to be heading over to Discord. I will go back, actually, to just sending love. There are multiple ways that you can support the channel, like liking and subscribing, but also by becoming a member of the channel, hitting join right down there. It helps us out, but also gets you our evolving badge system that by becoming a member, the longer you are, the badges just evolve and get cooler, and triggers creationists who don't seem to exist anymore. I was looking at something that Praise, or I think, was releasing, but and they're just attacking other Christians, which is, I guess, what they got to do nowadays. They got to go after each other. The few of you left, it's just like knives. Anyway, the other great way to send us, and we are going to, I think the next show we're going to do is going to be our Q&A show, because we are due for a June, so we're going to do that upcoming.
I think we've done one since.
And then, yeah, we probably should do one or two probably extra just to catch up. And then I'm going to start doing them, and maybe it'll be James and myself, but whatever we do. Where's Antangelo? I don't know. I saw him. He came on once on one of the theist helplines. That's another thing I want to get in touch with Taco about doing, is I want to do a Discord show just like T-Jump does, because I'm kind of a Discord junkie at this point myself. I used to be a lot more like, what the hell is this? But now I've spent too much time on it, and so now I can't even pretend.
I used to.
And so, yes. And so I might as well record. And actually try and get some content. Rubiks is like Twitch greater than YouTube. That's right, twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. Head over there and you can join. It's a Rubiks. I'm going to send that on there. Sending it to Twitch, because why not? It sends it out to everything. But, woohoo, oh, really, Rubiks? Woohoo, sending so much love out to Rubiks. And Wesley, on that day, Satan shall be put on earth. Wait, hold on. A green. See, what I love is the little details. What shall happen? I'm just reading what, James, because it's like fast
Here we
food.
go.
If you eat too much of it, and like you read them right before bed, it goes all to like your butt. Anyway, what shall happen?
You gotta say, at least he makes predictions. Not any of them come true, but
I know. I'm almost tempted.
Specific predictions
to like just give like a StreamYard link out to like. No. We should go into Discord. No, yes, okay. Just you're right. Just a little bit of.
Are you Sumami too spicy for politics? Yeah.
Okay, what shall happen is a green Volvo in Chicago. Oh my! Actually, here, let me make this TOS safe. I'm just TOS safe. I'm gonna read it. What shall happen is a green Volvo in Chicago. Why Chicago? It's just so random. Chicago with a nuclear bomb. It's not gonna be Boston. Oh, that's bad. It's not going to be Tampa. It's not going to be Philly. It's got to be Chicago. Shall be parked at the House of Blues. Is that a very sad house, or is that a jazzy house? Marine City Towers. That's probably a real place. I don't know what that is. And detonated. Like within a day of that Chicago evacuates. I like that, at least, Wesley. I know that you said you've gotten a lot of feedback on it, and almost all of it has been negative. I'm telling you that's a good thing, because I feel bad for you. I don't want it to have bad interactions. But if you're that specific, what happens is if that doesn't happen, then do we have a date? Give me a date also. We have a green Volvo in the
Oh,
House of Blues.
come on. You can't be like as specific as like the Bible saying that there will be earthquakes in diverse places.
Diverse
here and
places. Well, now you say New York,
anywhere,
Moscow, Washington,
somewhere on the
DC.
world.
My favorite part, I don't want to get too political, but I saw a meme where it was just like, because I just see Moscow, where it was like, Russia is greatest military in world. Okay, Russia is greatest military out here in East. Okay, Russia is greatest Slavic military. Okay, how about is Russia greatest, strongest military in Russia?
Well,
we almost didn't know.
They're the second strongest in Ukraine, I guess you could say.
They're the second, James. They were almost the second strongest in Russia. If you did you see that little uprising? That was fantastic.
Yeah. Putin's his buddy Lukashenko from Belarus came in and brokered a deal.
Indeed.
But he's like if Putin's Batman, he's like Robin. He's like Putin's sidekick there. But once in a while, the sidekick comes and helps you out.
Every once in a while. They're about the only people they have is Belarus. They have been almost as isolated as, well, not quite as North Korea, but they don't have a lot of, even China has been saying, not really that great for business.
Well, Belarus is was such an underdeveloped country. It was one of the Soviet Union blast. They didn't want to sever ties with Moscow. They wanted to keep Moscow. They didn't know what to do. They were kind of like abandoned, like Moscow just disappeared. And okay, you guys do your own thing now. You're running your own country. And they're like, we don't want to run our own country. We want you to run it for us.
Yeah, I hope all the I don't know how to say, but it's just a weird thing to get assimilated into to try and get assimilated into a new country, and then all they do is everything up, and they suck at generally the giant. They haven't been great at logistics at war. They have not been great at keeping moral support. They haven't been great at many things. Once again, now we're just getting. But don't you love the Iron New Orleans Jazz, the NBA team, moving to Utah? Really? Not sure what Jazz scene is like in Salt Lake City. That's funny. New Orleans Jazz. I'd like to visit New Orleans. And I'm Utah. I've talked with Mormons.
Utah Jazz. What is he talking about?
What's up, P-Town? But okay, best way that you can support us is by heading to the Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. Up in there, I'll pin it and all that fun stuff. But boopity boo. But we want to send love, and like I said, I think I'm going to do a show called Patreon-a-thon because I always have to have a show and a theme and a shtick. That's what Gizmo mandates, and that will be possibly just James and myself. Ray's so adorable. It'll be basically just us ranting just to ourselves. Maybe just for an hour, we'll cap it out if no one comes on for the first dozen times. But we're just going to do it as just something because I want to give something that is just unique to Patreons and separate it out. So there we go as we try and hit our benchmark. But with all of that shilling, what's up, Aubrey? What's up, 0125AR? Mr. Creedon and Native Atheist and Sea Science Labs and everybody. As we send, I know, baby girl, as we open the door. Is that what you asking for?
Buttercup?
That is Buttercup. She murs. They all actually speak a little bit different, which is kind of funny. But her murs and Penelope's murs are a little bit different. Moonlight has his, and boo doo boo boo cats. Who doesn't love cats? Unless you are a remake of
Ken
the
Holen.
musical. What bothers me, I know this is, I don't want to, I keep on throwing shade out to random religions, but it bothers me that Islam doesn't like dogs. I
Do they
know,
not?
listen, it's more frowned upon culturally. There are a few things that are like not talked about often. A dislike, a more general dislike. They worship cats. I understand. That's great. I like it. It's like when the Christians say, "Well, we didn't throw you off a bridge." It's like, okay, that's fantastic. I get you like cats. That's a good thing. But the fact that you give me arguments for why dogs are, whatever, to me is disgusting. Boo, and they dislike music. Once again, they will allow certain types of music, and you could
I
think
didn't know
once
either.
again that I'm just making this shit up. But I get in debates, the fucking Dawa S and stuff. Yes, they say that music can control you, especially stringed instruments. That's why a lot of times you will only hear prayers in Arabic with a cappella. You will not hear any stringed instruments behind them because it is frowned upon to have stringed instruments, including the piano.
You hear that in Christianity too. There are lots of them who, even when I was a Christian, I remember there's one he had it out. Which even when I was a Christian, I hated Christian music. I couldn't stand it. But
sure,
he made a video like about contemporary Christian music, and it's how evil it is, and I'm like, okay, it's not really my thing, but what's wrong with it? Is it we can only use instruments that were made up until like the 1700s, then anything after that is evil? Or what instruments are okay or not okay? Only what they had when they wrote the Bible?
It's silly. It is silly.
Yeah. It's
And
almost like your Amish thing, like how they like they'll accept technology up until like the 1840s, 1850s, and then they just stop, and nothing new after that they'll accept. But up until that, they're okay with it. I don't know.
But see, here's the thing. So my mom converted Islam. Yeah, dogs are kind of taboo in Islam. Which, once again, I do not accept. This is like a different cultural thing. Like I don't like. I understand. Like if you had an event where you're scared of dogs, or like you know something happened, but like I don't know. I'm team other animal. I like humans, but I'm team other animal, and like cats and dogs are just so not far back. Like they are so closely related, so obviously mammalian that I do. Forgive me for this judgment. I do look down on you if you look down on other animals. Like it just putting that out there.
We domesticated them. We made them specifically to be compatible with us.
I know, and they're adorable. They want to be liked. We want to like them. At this point, it's such a mutual relationship. How can honestly, I don't know. How can you dislike that face or a pupper's? Either way, there was someone else that said something, and someone was saying, "Yeah, my Muslim coworker talks about this exactly." Because there are certain subjects that get brought up, I think, more, and others that they don't want to talk about it until you are one of them, and then they want to
weird things
enforce
with
those
camels.
rules. Do they?
I don't know.
Surprise me.
If I recall.
Yeah, Mimi is tall, looks down on me. Listen. And supposedly I'm shorter than I thought I was. if I'm 2 inches shorter, I don't know if I should give out because I hear Bill Burr in the back of my head being like, you give out all this information, but at the same time, but I came here and I was like, I'm this tall, and Rachel at a certain point she's like, you're not that tall. I'm that tall, and so she stepped up to me.
Just
like,
a hair taller than you.
And I'm like, okay, yes, basically an inch or whatever. But I guess sometimes an inch or two matters, James. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Listen, some of us are size queens. Anyway, what are we talking about? We said we haven't even got to the shout-outs, so we said we're going to be fast.
I agree with you there. Although Amy does have sympathy for him. She doesn't like to smash him. She likes to put him outside.
I understand why, if something's invading your house, why you would have, an extremely negative reaction. So I'm not going to judge anybody for that. I do it almost for me, probably, if I'm being honest with you, because I would overthink it. I have my little bug catcher here, but I've had an infestation. I had a ant infestation once where I had to kill multiple. It kind of broke my heart. I still think about it to this day.
Smashing ants.
That's probably how. Oh, I had to not just smash. I had to spray. It was bad. It was a lie because you track trails. Got rid of them though. Oh my.
So you feel like you went like Hitler on those ants? Like you exterminated their ass?
I mean, from their point of view,
yeah,
I killed countless many. But it's a complicated issue. I just worry because the reason I worry specifically with ants and why because I cried that day. Why what's the word? Fret so much is I just don't want, when it comes to AI, I just don't want us to ever be the ant. It's easy for us to be in the tall person's position. Would we feel such sympathy if our galaxy was in the way of construction of some supersonic mall? I don't know.
What was it? It was somebody was on one of the channels I listened to, and it's just conjecture, but they're talking about how would aliens view us if they're so much more advanced than us? And then, remember Star Trek? Remember the crystalline entity that was it was eating people in Federation colonies, but it didn't know what it was doing was wrong. It was just trying to survive. And
we got 3 options because there's only 2 games, which is zero-sum and cooperative, or a mix. They either are a type of species that is going to kill us, that's going to cooperate with us, or they're like us, in which they're going to do both. And so what they're like is going to depend on how they evolved and what they, it's in my opinion, it's a dice roll.
It's a complicated question though, because
sure,
bacteria infecting your body are not evil. They're not intending to cause you harm, but yet we exterminate them by the billions with antibiotics and soaps and hand sanitizer out of necessity. It's not that they're evil or even conscious of what they're doing. They're not conscious. They're basically biological machines, but out of necessity.
It would be a little weird if we knew that bacteria. I don't think bacteria are consciousness, but if there were like small multicellular organisms we had to kill in our body.
I mean, it's like a tiger out in the woods in the forest hunting a boar to eat is not being evil. He doesn't hate the boar. It's just a business transaction. Hey, you've got meat. I need meat to eat meat to live. I have to do this. I'm sorry. Um, but by the same token, if that tiger is approaching your child, again, he's not being evil if he decides to try to make a meal out of him. But on this same token, we have
It all
to
depends.
prioritize the protection of our species.
I think it all depends on what you like, because if it's there's a possibility that it is a species that is just hunting like a tiger. We can't say a tiger is evil because it eats meat. Now, what happens if they are intelligent and they are these sentient beings that actually chose to fly here and conquer and things like that? I mean, then I think we can say, well, they are morally evil, and we can. So I guess it depends on what kind of species. Yes, but okay, I'm going to do this fast because we keep on saying, and I may actually be right back after this. But Chris, sending love to Chris Disciple, the man who reminds us of many, many men and women. But we have the skeptic and Rancy. There are theists, even though we tend to have a lot of atheists, agnostics. So you can also be an agnostic theist. So I got that out there too. Sending love to Chris Disciple, reminding us that we are the skeptic ranting community. All we care about is, do you doubt your beliefs a little bit? A little bit. Even the things that you believe.
We're willing to question.
That doesn't mean that you should be questioning everything at all times. Like, oh my God, should I? I'm just gonna believe, is gravity real? Well, no, okay, gravity's real. We don't actually know why gravity exists. That's
Keep an open mind, but not that open.
Phenomena. I mean, sending love to Dale Pastel. Reminds us we're looking for a little bit of empirical evidence. Just a little. Hold on. Just a tiny bit. Sending love to the one and only. Sending love to Rachel Holen. The lovely love of my life. Reminding that...
Thanks, Rachel.
Well, you don't want to kind of take slaves from the nations around you, or else you're a dick. I think that's the scientific term. However... if you're taking femboys, or biological, just regular men or women. If you want to chain them to your bed after they've consented and decided to put on lingerie, then that works too. What are we talking about? Fuzzy handcuffs.
Well,
anyway,
I would agree with Ember on that. I would that. If species was way more advanced than us, that they probably would have encountered a lot of the same moral and social dilemmas and problems that we've encountered in our development. They probably would have hopefully came to a lot of the same conclusions, but you never know. That would be actually putting T-Jump's version of morality to a test, because it's so hypothetical. You can't test it because, well, maybe if we meet aliens one day, maybe they'll have the same his version of morality, and then it can be objective.
I just think it's such a coin flip. I really think that it depends on because it could go. I could see it going either way. I could see it going these benevolent aliens who have actually figured out, and they have gotten rid of currency, and they wake up every day to the point where they're just trying to do their best. I was watching the show, I think it was Last of Us, and one of the ladies was working in like a town that they've been trying to rebuild, and she was like, I can't even do the freaking context. He's said, I'm not a communist. And she said, honey, we live in a commune. I can't do it funny. Go watch The Last of Us. Go watch that joke. Because I butchered it. What were we talking about? Have you ever seen I assume you're not a zombie fan. Have you ever seen The Last of Us? Played the video game?
No.
Sending love. The Last of
The
Us
Walking Dead,
HBO.
wasn't that a show at one point? There you go.
Walking Dead is good as well. The difference between that and The Last of Us is The Last of Us is a fungus that took over, and that's why it's making them into zombies.
World War Z.
World War Z is good. World War Z is written by Mel Brooks' son.
Really?
Indeed.
It was decent.
He's a smart cookie. I've seen him on Real Time with Bill Maher a lot. We're facing Gen AI within the decade. It's just ML, QL computing will lift the moratorium soon and hook up JPP chat to a Q computer within a year.
Well,
AI is interesting. I don't fear AI taking over soon. I fear it putting a lot of blue-collar people out of jobs soon. That's what I see in the near future, unfortunately.
As I say, eventually we are going to have to come to a reckoning. I mean, the conservative economists, they've always said, oh, well, look, in the past, we always adapted. We always had jobs for everybody. Don't panic. The economy will adapt. The market knows everything. I don't see it like this. I don't see this being a way to, get away from the fact that AI is going to render, half of jobs obsolete maybe in 50 years. We're just not going to need that many people working.
That is what I see more as
not going
to
need
it.
And even Ben Shapiro has said at some point we will need to consider some type of universal income where people just get paid to exist.
Jobs like Amazon, they're doing their best, like to utilize what they can of a human, but they're trying to make them like robots because for the most part, robots could do the job better. And it's just there aren't going to be factory jobs. There aren't going to be manual labor jobs. There aren't going
50 years
to
from
be...
now, you go into a McDonald's, they might have like 2 employees in the whole building, maybe 2 to 3 actual humans that work there,
and they will be mostly there to fix what you're saying. Yes,
you will
fix
have
the robots.
Probably you will have this class of this new elite class rise up, and these are people who do jobs that are just so that AI is just not able to do, and they'll make like 6 figures. They'll be very elite, cream of the crop, very well educated, and everybody else will just have to rely on.
It's okay, James. We got this. They won't have AI podcast yet. There probably will be. But sending love to James Wolfe. He was out there sending so much love. Ooh, at the moon. We're doing, like I told James, we want to have, because I like that we are international. I want to continue to do at least a midnight podcast a week. And I will, even if I have a freaking normal 9-to-5 job, I will pick a day and I'll sleep like when I get home, and then I will do the podcast, and then I'll take a 3-hour nap or something, because I want to make sure we have a midnight, and then I want to make sure that we have like a night, which is going to be just a 7 to a 9:30 prime time, baby. So funny. Did anyone? I assume you all saw that Alex Stein. I can't believe that. I mean, that is his thing.
What did he do now?
Trolling. Did you see the thing with Brittney Griner? Did you see that?
I don't remember.
You didn't see that? Oh, that was recent. That was recent, just within the past. So Alex Stein, who is just a troll, I met him at DebateCon, and he had a troll. He had someone. We brought someone in. He staged like he staged like a prank. There was just a guy that came up during the Q&A and was like really loud, was pretending to be like a like he was pretending to be white trash. That's the only best way I could say it, even though I'm pretty sure.
Was he big with a beard?
I don't even remember. I think he had sunglasses. That's all I can remember. But Alex Stein went into what's that? Say it.
He's friends with a guy named Alex Rosen who runs an organization called Predator Poachers, where they like do stings where they catch online predators. He's actually, I mean, I guess you can't fault his work in that in some ways, but
if they're catching actual predators, then yes, then that's how.
A lot of the people they catch are really up to no good. They are really dangerous people, so that I can't really argue with. But he does a lot of these kind of social, like political trolling events.
Okay,
you know,
well,
show up to Beto rallies and tell Beto he's a piece of shit.
Well, there's the libs of TikToks and the counts and stuff like that. I sometimes they don't actually they do are, in my opinion, narrative based things. They try and find things they want, and then they
like the James O'Keefe, you remember him, went into the prostitutes, into the community, into the old Acorn thing, and
so all that stuff. But I mean, if you're actually, you're whatever. What I will say though, but Alex Stein went into an airport.
Theorist.
Yeah, he's a conspiracy. He is a
conspiracy.
It's like the Wish version of Alex Jones.
They used to call him a dollar store Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, he's just he's a crazy person.
Conspiracy Castle is his channel.
Yes. And I could probably show you.
He's into every conspiracy
the things that he did. Let me show you. I almost wanted to do it as a video in and of itself.
What he did for Brittney Griner?
Yeah. But, I mean, whatever. Might as well do it now. Maybe I'll clip it later. Boo, boo, doo, boo. Because it's just being...
Just acknowledging there's no evidence for God.
By the way, Brittney Griner, biological woman who
they say she's comments. They try to say she's a man.
That yes, which once again, they pretend like they give a shit about women's basketball. Okay, the next time, all right, that you hear someone trying to defend someone pushing that they care about women's basketball in front of a trans person or something, trying to swimming or whatever, just remember this is what they actually care about: a biologically gay woman.
BG, was that a fair trade for the Merchant of Death? I know you kill it on the court, but he kills it in real life. Is it true you'd have sex with Vladimir Putin?
So just going right in there and basically just harassing her. And
is it true you had sex with Vladimir? Wow.
True you had sex with Vladimir Putin.
So you get released from Russia, Britt?
Once again, just trolling her because and you see the smile on his face. You see how happy he is to basically
get the attention.
Yes, being a attention whore.
Britt, get out of the way. Britt, is it true you had to get out of the way? What about?
And once again, he's asking this to someone who is publicly out. Not that it matters, but you're not that it would have been a proper question to a stranger.
What are you doing? I'm trying to talk to Brittney. Hey, Britt, do you still want?
Trying to talk with her, he says, is like with the selfie stick. Come on, come on. This is fair and honest, fair and balanced.
It's an interview.
Yeah.
Do you still want to boycott America, Brittney?
First of all, she wasn't boycotting America. I hate that once again. I don't even know why everything has to be political, but she was kneeling to protest police violence. You could say that that's a bad cause, that it's a silly cause. I understand why they were doing it. I don't hate police officers. I think there's a need for police. I also think we need to reform our police system, and sometimes taking an extreme, like just a calm protest, a peaceful protest, is the easiest thing to do.
I'm going to stay out of that.
Stop. I'm weird. Why? She hates America.
She hates America.
But I thought it was she came back now that she's been back, she's actually kind of softened her rhetoric on that. She's actually like, yeah, now I understood a little bit. After being in Russia for prison, she's kind of
sure. I don't think though
America more maybe.
I don't think she ever hated America though. That wasn't what the protest was. Was like, we hate America. I think that many, like, how should I say this? I think that yes, I think you'd get much more of appreciation for our country when dealing with the crooks that is the Russian oligarchs. That, you know, we said our system needs reform. Their system is a system of putting away people who they disagree with. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and say that our judges put people away who they disagree with. All right? We got to separate out at least that much. We can walk and chew bubblegum, right? I think we can. And so, yes, I think she probably would. I mean, I know how, because I've thought about this. You will not get me to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I will not, or I'll stand for it, but I won't put my heart there. I will not say the Pledge of Allegiance because I think it's creepy. I'm not going to pledge allegiance to a flag. But am I going to listen to our anthem? Yeah, I'll listen and sing to our national anthem because that's about an actual thing. That's about fighting wars and our soldiers actually doing shit and coming back. And so, yes, it's a nuanced take because I think that that's actually worth it. And the pledge is it's funny. At the school that I actually went to, the last school I went to, they had their own pledge. I've never seen that before. Like, and I pointed that out to another teacher and she was like, really, we do? And she was like, oh, yeah, we do. I think they just very low key because their pledge is like, we will be honest and we will be kind and we will have integrity and we will follow the teachers and follow our parents and be amazing. I was like, yeah, they just made that shit up. But I like that. But yes, it's just sussing things out because once again, I think we should have respect for men and women that have died. You know, every war is a pot shot in and of itself. Not all of them are worthy, but our soldiers, they don't get to pick that shit. So it's not like could be angry at them. That's the people's behind the scenes who got voted and who probably have never spent a day out on the field. So it's a heavy political issue, or it's a complicated issue, but he's not. There is no nuance. All right, there's no nuance here. He knows what he's doing.
He's just trolling.
He's just trolling. He's saying this isn't really. And once again, is this supposed to be the representation of conservative? Is that what you want to push forward? I hope not.
What about the merchant of death, Brett? Get off me. Stop, dude. Get off me.
Was that a fair trade? The merchant of death?
Well, I mean, to be fair, she didn't pick. She didn't say, pardon this guy and let him go to get me out. I mean, that was the politician who decided who to exchange for her in the deal.
Exactly. Well, once again, the fact that it's like saying we traded someone bad for someone that is good. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's Russia. What this is? Look
don't
at the
keep
country
good-
that.
We tend not to imprison good people, or at least we try not to.
Not only that, but Russians said very specifically, because there's another we have a soldier over there, I forget his name, but they think that he's a spy. He's not a spy. He's just a zhlub. But Russia just makes up charges, because that's like when we say we fudge charges, and like we think that we give proportionally worse drug charges to people who have darker skin. That's very different from being like, well, I just don't like Fred, and so I think we're gonna put Fred away for 20 years and never let him see the like. It's bad, and just
It's almost like the
holy
old
shit. Yes, like I'm appreciative for living in America. I love my country. I think that we have a lot going for us. I think that it really was heading in the right direction as far as it's really weird right now. LGBTQ wise.
It's a pendulum.
It's a pendulum. Sometimes you take a 2 ups with a down. So I'm just hoping, and it's the only way it can go. What's going to happen? This is what I hate to make it, because I don't want to make it about me. This has nothing to do with me, but like, it's the only way it can go is they make it weird again, and then it slowly calms down, because like there's only so much that you can say, drag queens, and be like, there's only like so much fear you could make out of like sparkles and hairspray. You know what I mean?
You know what? Drag queens are still going to exist. You're still going to see them. They're not going to go away. And eventually people will realize, hey, they're just doing their thing. Why would I want to hate them or commit acts of violence or bigotry against them?
They were like on
stupid,
NBC. So. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, if you have to commit violence against an LGBTQ person, that's
somebody
because
for
you
wearing
got
clothes
on.
that your holy book doesn't approve of, or that you don't like their choice of clothes. You think they're not gender appropriate. Well, I mean, that's part of freedom, that some people are going to make choices freedom-wise that you wouldn't make. And you know what? You get to make choices they wouldn't make. And we all have to live together. So
Exactly. They will, and they say things like, don't come after our kids. But almost universally, night, davegar, gotta get super early. I hope you have a great day at work as well. I hope you have a great sleep as well as a great day at work. They say we're coming after our kids. Once again, the irony, the just absolute irony of just religion and religious people trying to tell us that what we're trying to get children to do is not hate themselves, is accept who they are. We don't want to for that. That's what they think that we're trying. James, they're going to read a book about being gay, and then they're going to say, hey, I want to be gay. That's really how they think it works.
When you were in the public school, so you didn't make all the girls go into one room, all the boys go into the other room. They all take off their clothes and they trade. So the girls put on the boy clothes, the boys put on the girl clothes, and they all...
James, it's the annual gender swap day.
Right. And then you send them home that way, and the parents just have to deal with it. Yeah, your daughter is now your son. Deal with it. Too bad if you don't like it.
And this is, I've read articles from conservative parents who go, we were extremely uncomfortable about transgenders. It wasn't within our faith. And yet little Billy, our son, who we love, keeps on wanting to wear a dress. And we're like, that's not what we raise strong men in this household. And it gets to the point where we have to say, well, do we want to basically torture our son, or do we want to raise him as something that he doesn't want to be and is going to...
I think most of the time,
your child to resent you.
I think most of the time the parents liberalize on that real quick in that situation. They adopt an alternate viewpoint of that real quick. It's just like when Ken Hovind had been married to his first wife for all those years, and he was happy, and they were married and everything. And he would say, "Oh, divorce is evil. Divorce is bad. Divorce is horrible. No, if you get divorced, you can't be remarried because the Bible says that's adultery." Yeah, and then as soon as his wife divorces him, he's like, "Well, I mean, the Bible says it's not good for the man to be alone, and I'm not going to be alone the rest of my life. I mean, I'm in my 50s. You mean to tell me I have to spend? Yeah, you mean to tell me I have to spend my next 40 years being alone by myself? I can't go out."
They all do this.
Yeah,
and it's what we expect them to do. It's what we want them to do, and they deserve to lightly be roasted for it. We don't want you to throw your kid out for being gay. We want you to go, "Oh, okay, I guess it happens to me," and open your heart.
I'm going to love them.
Yes. But yes, let's not make this once again. I feel like I'm making this about me in the middle of this.
It happens.
Once again, you can have different feelings about police brutality, about supporting and funding the police. I think we should fund it. Supposedly defund was supposed to mean fund in certain ways, and I don't want to get sorted out. You should fund the police, plus we should fund a unit that makes it so that they don't have to deal with mentally handicapped people with disabilities and stuff, because it puts an undue process on the police. It's not a situation, talking from just my brother. It's not like they want to do it either. I mean, but let's get back
that's
to
the thing. You get these mentally ill people, and they're threatening, they're being violent. Who do they call? They call the police. That's who has to deal with them, unfortunately.
Sure. Well, and it's the only unit. It's the right thing to do right now because it's the only system we have. What it should be is you should call 911, and then maybe just because you can't always have a questionnaire. You only have so much time. But what's the mental stability line of this person, and depending on the mental stability, you have a unit, maybe either assist or, whatever. You have something that I think would have much more support than, people just think they're going when the police come sometimes, depending that it's going to end badly. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be. And I'm not saying that's the fault of the individual police officers. It's a shitty situation for both sides.
Sometimes
so you got him.
Well, on the other side, though, if you think we're going to turn our police into like disarmed hall monitors, like Euro-style police, where they don't have any weapons or anything, so they just have to deal with it without weapons. I don't think.
I didn't talk.
No,
about
I'm not
weapons.
saying you.
Because the moment
I don't think that's going to be practical. Because that's what people say. Like, well, in Europe, they don't have weapons, so they just have to deal with it however they have to.
See,
deal
James,
with it without weapons.
Our problems, although they are exacerbated by our weapon-like culture, it's not, by putting limits on those sort of things, they're almost like Band-Aids. You're saying maybe we could stem the problem if they can't even get access to it. But like, my thing is that it's the same with school shootings. The school shooting problem, it's not like getting rid of the weapon. Yes, that may actually limit some school shootings, but these kids are so fucking angry. They're so fucking mad that they're gonna fucking take a fucking saw and just run around. Like, there is something that we need to talk about that I think is like a bullying thing, that they are just taking the template of what the fuck are they called? I forget. Columbine, the two, whatever their names were.
Dylan Eric Harrison Dillon.
Yes, it goes into they're following that template because that's all they know. And they are then funneling that through how much hate and pain they have. We're getting off into anyway. They're complex. That's why I almost never bring up weapons because I think that a lot of times, they have other issues. In fact, sometimes I think if you see two sides that have been fighting over something, just back and forth for so long, it's sometimes a hint that maybe that isn't that there may be something else or there's something underlying.
That's why
but yes.
I don't see it happening here. Us having the disarmed Bureau style police.
And like I said, you may need to make a well-trained psychologist. Maybe we need to get a different type of psychology. I don't know. Or a mix sometimes.
Our mental health service, because our mental health system is really bad, and unfortunately, that's how so many people access mental health care. Is they go out, they commit crimes because they don't have access to therapy or medication, and then they get thrown in jail, and then they get mental health care bought from the lowest bidder. That is the company that is going to do it the cheapest and worst is going to get the contract.
Our jails are like universities for criminals. Like you go to become the best criminal that you could be. If you were just a slight criminal, don't worry, we can hook you up. And so they are.
This is what you did wrong.
We like to. Well, the thing I get is that if we just keep on being harder and harder and harder, we just cut the heads off of fucking thieves, then we won't have thieves. And sometimes that works for some people, but what that really ends up doing is just making really good thieves. But whatever. Let's, like I said, let's finish. He killed in real life.
Is it true you have sex with Vladimir Putin?
What does that? I don't even know. It's just
who even said? Is anybody saying she had sex with?
No. No one.
He's just saying it because it's sensational sounding.
Exactly. And this is, by the way, how they treat a gay woman. This is how they actually fucking care about. Because I see all the comments and all the fucking shit that they throw at her, just like Michelle Obama. Just the women that don't meet their value of femininity. This is what they care about, if you want to actually see it.
I don't know what it is about Michelle Obama they find so.
Britt, you scared to talk to me? Britt, you're scared.
No.
The merchant of.
Once again, this is the airport, okay? So scared to talk to me in the airport. Actually, that's actually a legitimate thing, actually. If someone comes up to the airport and just starts screaming things at you.
Look at the smirk, though. He's not even taking himself seriously.
No, this is the same way he was at DebateCon when they were making a scene and doing things, is like they know they're trolling. And, as Rachel pointed out, he was getting views. He was getting all these eyeballs and going comments. So, he's a real man, real America.
So base.
Even though, once again, this is not representative of America. I'm sorry. You're just an asshole. Sending so much love. There's just a Cypher day. I also like to show off things when I get Cuss. A lovely, I get to see my Heart Sheen t-shirt. Ooh. And they have all the science stuff on there. Science stuff. Sending so much for all the love and support. Really Disciple Day. Always lovely to have you with us. And this end up gonna be a hybrid show, but that's kind of what an impromptu. We're debating someone, apparently. We're just debating. I mean, I would debate Alex Stein. I would debate any of the. I'm starting to get.
I would love to debate him on like 9/11 Truth or something like that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
He's into any conspiracy theory you could think of. He's knee deep in it.
Oh my God. Please tell me that's not true, James Wolfe. If that is true, if that is true, first of all, he should go to jail, right?
No, he went.
Well,
I know he went last year to. It was a Pride Month rally in Texas, and he and the other guy was talking about before. They went there dressed in drag to troll.
Like, if you're going into a bathroom to hang out in a bathroom, that's kind of creepy. I get that. I guess they're trying to be like, look, I could be a man. They could be like,
I could
listen.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
I
say
could
this
do it.
to
They
you.
could do it.
Go to the bathroom and then leave. Like, if you do anything beyond going to the bathroom, I guess maybe like they sometimes sell Tylenol or fixing your makeup or whatever. But if you do anything beyond that kind of stuff, you are a degenerate, an asshole, a bitch. I have to say these things because I completely, I think I tell this, James, all the time. But, you know,
Probably.
the moment you use transphobic or homophobic or racist or any of these things, that is what they almost want you. They love it because then they're like, oh, let's fight about what it means to be racist or transphobic. Is it really transphobic to just be saying that sex is real? I no, you're an asshole for consistently misgendering someone when they have told you what they are, they're presenting as what they are, and you're going out of your way. You're going in inflection. You're going like, sir. I get it. We know what you're doing.
Your genitals,
It's
and then
very
I'll determine your pronouns.
Yes, exactly. And
Jesse
at that
Lee
point,
Peterson will determine your pronouns after he inspects
Jesse Lee.
gender.
And it better have a big old D down there. What's up, Brian Stevens? What's up, Titan Uranus? Sending so much love to Titan. We had a powwow, and I agree that, you know, we may have a policy, and so I like that policy going forward, which is just getting approval. And so I like it, Titan. I think it's a good idea. I think, and so sending love. What's up, Ian Davenport? What's up? Did not hang out. But if that is true, James, like, and I think you just said it is, they do all these stunts and they end up being
Trolling.
What they are.
Pride events.
Well, yeah. Well, once again, they say that they care about women. James, they want to protect the hard-working lesbians in the women's NBA. Not everyone in the women's NBA is a lesbian, just this lesbian specifically.
They're very concerned with women's powerlifting and swimming and
exactly. James.
Volleyball.
They care so much about. They also, these are the same people that when you point out ticket prices and getting paid less and all that, they point out that women, you know, a lot of women don't pay to see these tickets. So that but once again, do you know who doesn't watch them? Who doesn't watch them?
I think that they said the women, they actually get like a higher percentage of the revenue. It's just such a smaller pool because, yeah.
Well, I think that I almost
if you're
think
going
that
and saying you care so much about it, but you don't actually watch it, then
name me your 5 favorite five favorite players on your favorite team. How about I let you pick your 5 favorite of all the women's NBA? But yeah, they don't care about women or children.
Good day, Britt. Have a good day. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Should you, or should you be ashamed of yourself for harassing someone in an airport?
Britt, do you hate America? Britt.
No. Look at the joy on his face when he says that.
This is like sexual gratification for him. This is like, yeah.
But you notice, not a moment of like, it's not even the other way. Like, you hate America, you despicable. It's like, yeah, you hate America. Yeah.
Like with a Beavis and Butthead style, like, hey, America.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that is true. All right, we will grant it. They do seem to care very deeply about women's volleyball. A lovely $2 super chat from the one and only Sinister Porpoise. I don't know what it is about women's volleyball. It's just, all those angles. Who loves short shorts? Na, 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 na. I go.
Alex Stein loves short shorts.
Exactly. I go to Hooters for the wings, James. For the wings. They're breaded. Anyway, Alex Stein calls out Brittney Griner. Does he really? All right.
Britt, was it a fair trade for the merchant of death?
Yeah.
Britt
had no choice. She was stuck. About to be 9 years in a penal colony.
She didn't pick, release this guy, pardon this guy. That was the politicians. That's not her fault.
Was it a fair trade? Brittney, done. Was it a fair trade? Why are you grabbing me?
Because you're running up.
I want to talk to the famous athlete.
You talk to me. How about that?
Okay, well, do you like protecting her, even though she hates our country?
I do what I need to.
Well, do you think that she?
Have a good day.
Did you hear that she had sex with Vladimir Putin?
Have a good day.
What? What kind of rumor is that? That's just like I don't.
He just made it up.
Yeah,
because it sounds sensational.
Okay. Exactly. Yes, there we go. Fantastic.
Amy didn't even have sex with Vladimir Putin.
Indeed. I would have let him, take me for a ride on the horse. I just love his shirtless pictures. Got to be strong. Rather Russia.
Very masculine.
Really masculine. Absolutely ridiculous. We're doing shout outs in the middle of that. I can't help it. Sending love to Jansel, Dale, Chris, Rachel, Senator Cato. Thank you so much, Senator Cato, as we separate the church and state out there. And, these friggin' fundies, please, just don't let them gain power. Please don't let the fundies gain power. We're so close to getting rid of religion. Anyway, davegar, sending so much love to davegar, reminding us of the separation. Separation of church and state, but also the fact that we like a thick earth. Thick old round earth that's 4.5 billion years old. I don't know if you knew, but the earth is indeed 4.5 billion years old and an ellipsoid. You can hear the English coming out of my lips. Thank you so very much, davegar, and also sending love to the one and only Emily as we continuously just trigger. Sending love to Rubiks. We seem to make the fundamentalists mad that we are alive, that we are living human beings. Are you guys gonna get upset for every LGBTQ person that they do ad campaigns for? Because they've been doing this for years now.
They didn't freak out when Cover Girl did Ellen. Rosie O'Donnell did Sears at one point.
Yeah. This was kind of on the edge in the 90s. All right?
Our idea of how much stock we put into celebrities, maybe that's kind of celebrities doing silly things for ad campaigns. Remember which they intentionally do ridiculous, remember the Paris Hilton Burger King ad with the bikini with the Whoppers,
Yeah,
blatantly ridiculous.
Giant majority of ads are ridiculous. That is what half of them are. Have you ever watched an ad and went, "Oh, that just makes so much sense"? Maybe once or twice, I guess, but we watched the what the hell is it called? Not the NFL. What is the NFL? The Super Bowl. When you're watching the foosball, they put all that money, but even them, half of them are silly. So I don't know. It seems very weird to just start.
I can send you an ad that's
again.
not silly.
Oh my. Well, I'm sure there are good ads out there. I mean, it's just a silly thing to get mad about. But yes. Emily and then our prop tier. Sending so much love to Matty, reminding us that we have theories. I know they say it's just a theory. Well, a theory is a framework of facts. It's where you collect facts and make a framework about a phenomenon. Religion just has hypotheses, and that's really the nice way of saying it, because you really just an educated guess.
Hypothesis supposed to at least be based on something visible or reality based.
Yeah. Yes, it can. But yeah, but a hypothesis.
Religion, they're just pulling shit out of nowhere. It's not based on reality or.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Deig, and sending so much love to Regos, reminding us that we have a skeptic Bible study. Oh my God, so spooky. Snakes that talk. Like, it's bad for the fact that he's a bad guy from story one. They're always like, what do you mean? He threw his kids out on the street. Like, oh, but they did something wrong. Oh, your kids did something wrong, so you threw them out on the street? Okay, right. Anyway, thank you so much, Regos.
Well, the Bible says to execute on nothing nice.
Yeah. The objectively moral God. And last but not least, thank you so very much to Ian Davenport. We saw him out there. Send so much love, Ian. Reminding us that the theological arguments are crap, whether they're watchmaker, kalam, and cosmological contingency, they're all bad. And yeah, we might get some tonight. I'm going to be right back for a second, and then we are going to head over there. Boom, 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 boom. But James, the mic over to you. We've been talking theological fun. We've been watching a whole, and we just saw that nonsense up on there. He is Alex Stein is he's a troll.
Yes. He certainly is. Yeah, I guess you have to give him credit. He can put on a show. He can be entertaining, but unfortunately, most of the positions he takes are pretty degenerate. He takes a lot of really bad views. Believes in just about every conspiracy theory out there. Probably even one so crazy he won't even talk about them on YouTube or on any type of moderated platform. But hey, he's a troll. He's out there playing the game, gaming the system, and that's what people do. Yeah, we've got a couple more. We actually have quite a few things to review coming up in the queue. Amy was trying to get to debate a creationist on Modern Day Debate with Dr. Thompson. Hard to find one, though. There don't seem to be too many coming up. Old Bubblegum Gun has challenged people to debates before, but he didn't want to take the opportunity when the challenge was presented. Rather just complaining that they won't have him on MDD than actually go on when he gets a chance. But hey, not everybody is a serious, good faith actor, especially on the creationist side. Probably 80% of the ones we deal with are not arguing in good faith. So I don't know if you guys, some of you guys were here last night, was on Mark's channel, watching him and Ember review the Matt Dillahunty debate with Cliff that was on MDD last week, which That was a good time to then review that debate. That was a good stream yesterday on the Mark Reid's channel. Check that out if you're not subscribed to Mark Reid. I think probably 95% of you guys are. How thick is flat Earth? That's a good question. Is it like pancake thick? Is it infinite plane, infinite in thinness? What is the what is the exact density of a flat Earth? I don't know. Of course, that's where everything with like flat Earth falls apart. As soon as you start to ask the logistics, everything falls apart. And that's why they can't ever come up with a coherent model. Sometimes they'll give you multiple models, but they don't work with each other to explain different phenomena. We'll have a model for seasons, a model for day and time, a model for the constellations in the sky, but they don't work with each other. But hey, they're just asking questions, right? They're just skeptics of the globe. They don't have to propose a model to question our model, which is fair, but they're doing everything they possibly can do to not understand the globe. It's like creationists. They do everything they can possibly not to understand evolution, to muddy the waters, to muddle everything and make it more complicated than it needs to be. Obfuscation is the name of the game. It's just about trying to make things as confusing and as hard and complicated as possible. They won't understand it. That's unfortunately what we end up dealing with a lot. People like Bubble, people like in that caliber. Let's see who we got out there today. We got Church of Robot, good to see you. Lambie, Dr. Octagon, 5 feet or so. That's the thickness of the flat Earth. Always watching. Oh, the number of arguments they come up with, the silly number of arguments they keep spewing out for flat Earth is just, it's comedic and sad at the same time. You have to ask yourself why this doesn't just go away. Native atheist out there, we'll save that for when Amy gets back. Good question there, Fallon. I'll have to ask a flat earther about that. We'll ask Marissa or any of the other flat earthers. Even though they, unlike the creationists, at least they seem to want to come out and debate more still, the flat earthers. Like they want to come out and talk about flat Earth. I don't know why. But it seems to be getting them attention. You have to think, is flat Earth even more ridiculous than creationism? Which is worse? Which is the dumber of the two? You always tell the creationists that they're like flat earthers of biology, but I mean, which is worse? I don't know. Good question. Of course, that Matt Dillahunty debate, if you watch the review of that, or if you just watch that debate with Cliff, that was Cliff is just he's a modern day debate regular. He's been on there quite a bit. At least he does come on and make arguments. Not that they make sense. Not that he really presents anything. I think what was he bickering about mostly? It's just they don't like that we don't find their standards of evidence, that the reason that they believe to be convincing. We don't find the gospel accounts to be credible. We don't think there's enough there to make a rational decision to believe in this. You watched the debate, right, Amy?
I have not, but I'm looking forward to it.
The Matt Dillahunty debate with Cliff?
I have watched him debate Cliff before. Or I will say, no, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because I was there
you
for
told
that.
me it was on. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought you were there.
I thought
Mark Reid and Ember reviewed that debate last night on his channel.
He and I could finally say, Cliff is always a little, him and his son, I think are, I say silly, but I think Christians are silly.
He tried to be a little bit more aggressive in this debate. He came out, tried to swing a little bit more, but basically just salty that we don't just read the Bible and choose to believe it and choose to smooth out all the inconsistencies in it, because you can come to them, you can give them, okay, well, these are the things that don't make sense in the Bible, these are the contradictions, inconsistencies, things that it gets wrong, and they just smooth all those over. Okay, well, this is how we get through this, and this is why that, but when the Quran does it, oh no, the Quran is wrong, that's wrong. Of course, when the Muslims do it, they smooth out the Quran, everything. Okay, well, this is how we interpret that. This is what this means, and it's not a contradiction here. And they both do lots of mental gymnastics and contort the text, torture the text to get it to fit their narrative. And they can see when the other side is doing it, but they can't see when they're doing it.
Also, just want to send love, lots of love, to Native Atheists. Woo!
Which
I'm going to share it with him.
With Moonlight?
Yes, because the internet loves cats. And I love cats.
That was funny, Sinister, that 2 of the 5, princes, generals, dukes of hell, whatever you want to call them, 2 of them were devoted to lesbian women. 2 out of the 5. There was 1 for gay men, but 1 was for, he said it 2 ways, like lesbian women and then female homosexuality or something like that. It's wow.
Maybe he has multiple different ways in his browser history.
Satan is really into lesbians. That's the only thing we can pick up from that.
We're learning Satan has great taste. But thank you so much, Native Atheists, for all the love and support that you give us, and we hope we give all the love and support right back. And all right, we only took forever. Though this is going to be half the show, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be lively when we get over there. I am going to go to, I think, Panhandlers. We're gonna go and we'll just see if we can bait some Christians into, or anybody into debating. Invite people. I'm going to just put the server in there that I'm going to. I think I'm going to try politics, religion. I like politics too. I might go back and forth between those servers. We'll see.
If they want to talk.
Exactly.
I'll find one who's willing to talk about anything.
Oh, I need to also, let me change. Can you just give me 1 second? I want to change to my name to I'm recording because I feel bad. I don't like to just.
Sir, this conversation.
Sir. So just give me 1 second.
Recording.
While I'm clicking flagging. This is being recorded? What?
Did you get to watch the did you get to watch the call that Ultimated did with Matt Dillahunty and Forrest on the line? I sent you the link to it.
I have only seen the beginning of it, but I saw that he's doing it, which is Was it good?
Oh, I mean, if you know Ultimated, it's basically like his normal
shtick. Did he get banned?
Yeah.
Again?
He got banned in their side chat, I think, and that's when he called. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
he just he says the same type of things over and over again. You can't get him to actually tell you why he believes it, or he tells you what he believes. He won't tell you why. He just asserts that you already know it because he believes you already know it. And
my thing is, does he know that he's doing it like that? Like, does he talk like that when he's at a dinner date, or is it all the time?
I'm finding that hard to believe how somebody could function like that in any other realm other than the theist-atheist debate community.
And
like you're always saying, like, sir, he's
Sir.
at Wendy's trying to make his order, and he's talking about / let me get the number one with / Coke / fries / add cheese.
Can you imagine if that's what it was, though?
Just imagine him in the drive-through speaker and like / what?
Biblically speaking, I'll take a number 2 with fries. /
fries / Coke / no mustard / extra onions.
And all right, James, are you right? I'm going to join, and we'll see what happens. Our bodies are ready. And so we can keep on also just talking while we're here. But I'm also going to try and bait them because, yeah. They get so triggered.
I don't hear anything. Are you broadcasting anything?
No, I do. You see? Do you see what they said? Mod deleted it.
I can't really see it, but
okay. He gave me a very cordial way of saying hello. He said, "Die," but the mod deleted it.
Why?
Because they have certain standards on here. Yeah, even though oftentimes it's both of these servers are polite, but still, I love some of the people on there. They're fun to talk to. And if no one joins, then that'll be okay too. You know what I'll do? I'll put this. Only join though if you plan to debate. But I'll put the StreamYard at link. Why not?
Just if Amy starts debating with somebody, we're not going to talking over them.
Boo, boo, boo. So if you wanted to debate us either on Discord or on StreamYard, but that is the name of the game tonight. We're looking to debate. I know, Sinister. Well, they love that stuff, even though I noticed that's just the easiest to push away. All of the anti-LGBTQ things, it's just so surface level. That especially when you're looking for theology and they're like, girl, You're like, yes, but how big is that girl dick? Bum bum bum. Ba-dum, bum. But we are impromptu debating you tonight. We are on episode 8, I think. I was probably supposed to say this at the beginning. I need to debate Darth again. I've been feeling it. I gotta have a conversation with him.
What's that app he's on, Clubhouse? Or?
Yeah, I gotta go to wherever the drudges that he has been cast to now. Now, James, you know, you and I are as lonely peasants. We're used to being in the mud, but how the mighty has fallen. Oh, exactly. YouTuber James W. It's so lovely to have that point cross. Sending love to YouTuber Ultimated.
Well, it's funny. That's what they called him in that call. Like,
did they call him YouTuber?
The debate with Christian YouTuber.
Because they're nice. That's what the ACA. The ACA is too nice not to, and so they're gonna ask for your name. They ask for your pronouns. And they ask, what is the subject that you want to talk about? And so I guarantee you,
our
when
biblical Christological God.
Exactly. So they just said, okay, fine, you're our biblical Christological, or whatever, dude. The only thing they're really
we'll jerk you off
about,
there, Ultimated. We'll give you a hand
after
job.
Watching enough, I get my own chair back. After watching enough ACA content, the only thing that they really care about. Yeah, I'm gonna steal my own chair back. Woo! The only thing that
server allow users to nickname themselves? I don't know.
Does that server allow you? No, they have call screeners, and so you tell the call screener what you want to be called, and so the call screeners are just generally, I assume, really nice people. And the only way you can get kicked off an ACA show is by talking over the host or lying about what you wanted to talk about. Don't put the call screeners, ladies and gentlemen. People being anti-Semitic.
Christian, yes, of course.
In fact, what is that person?
You missed that interaction that he had with Mark when it was on one of the shows where you had to leave before the open mic. And he came on, and Mark Reid was on, and Mark Reid asked, I don't even remember the question. He asked Ultimated. The entire question took, it was like maybe 10 to 12 words. And Ultimated, he starts dancing around, and he's like, let me simplify the question. And he's like, no, just answer the question. He's like, no, I don't want to answer that. I need to simplify. And it's like, this is the guy who has 12 pages of syllogism that he reads out, that he refuses to simplify, refuses to summarize, but he can't answer a 10-word question without simplifying or clarifying. Or
he thinks adding more makes it better, when I think it actually makes it more confusing. I just said God doesn't exist, and they're all going crazy in text chat.
He's
not enough to get anyone a voice.
Another hour a day, just adding to it, just coming up with new things to put on it. He's trying to impress people that he can make up really big, official-sounding words that don't actually exist.
Indeed. And
he was
that is the difference.
If you can make up your own nicknames on that server or not.
On the server, yeah. On Discord, yeah. A lot of people here have names. I think mods can rename you and stuff, but they all have their own different thing. These servers are
you can only do that if you have Nitro, right?
I have found when you're in as a lot of anti-gay places, they tend to be horribly homoerotic, like homophobic and homoerotic. It's like Oh, see, they're not even saying. He's calling me ugly. Interpret your own genitals. You can't win. Pierce is lost. Hey, at least he's giving a thing and not just talking about my genitals. I'm pretty sure that was the guy that was anti-Semitic. James, I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to get apparently, Christians in here. See, I feel bad to just join a random thing because it's like you're ambushing people if you're recording. In my opinion, I could go to maybe the politics server. I could try. Let's see. Let's try. Let's see. There's a Ukraine. There's politics, religion. I could just go into religion and argue. God doesn't. Maybe go into religion. Maybe.
Your name is too well known, Titan. Yeah, you can never get away with being incognito.
Let's try going into religion.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep on going down.
Come on down.
Come on down. And if not, we'll just have another 30 or 40 minutes of us ranting.
Yeah, we'll just shoot the shit. Hey.
Because there's a lot of theological nonsense to hotshot out there on the internet, unfortunately.
It never stops, you know. It keeps on coming. Not just theological nonsense, just nonsense in general. What did I see right before we started? I saw another 9/11 video about building fucking 7, and it's like, okay, if we had 2 of the largest buildings in the world within a city block, basically, that collapsed next to this building, if you can't understand how that would cause structural damage to that entire complex, and you are just so incredulous that building could have collapsed. I don't know.
We got some.
Hey. He's talking in Morse code.
What's up, Ask Mormon?
You are really quiet.
Am I? Give me 1 second. Do you guys hear me? Do you hear me all right, James?
I hear you fine.
Huh. I don't know. My thing is set. Well, you turn me up maybe? Right-click me if you want.
Let's see. Yeah, that worked. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Also, I am live streaming. Just putting that out there.
All right. Well, I'm probably not gonna upset that too much.
No, good. I don't know if you were looking for debate or chat or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm actually.
Sexual encounter.
I'll do whatever. Debate, chat, any of the above.
Sexual encounter.
Yeah, sexual encounter. I am a non-religious person.
All right.
Can I maybe ask why you're a Mormon?
I grew up Mormon, and as I've looked into the faith as I've grown up, I've found very little reason to disbelieve any of it. So,
come on, sinister.
I'm sticking with it.
Be paying attention to this.
Okay, so you found it successful, or it helped make you successful.
It's been successful in helping me live a good life and be productive, and it's it also the intellectual claims all seem to be accurate. So, or philosophically and logically, and biblically and everything.
What server is this, Amy?
Mm,
I don't hear you.
Well,
doubt might
politics.
be like, you know, I might have questioned things for sure. Like, you know, there are some pretty startling things. Like, we are a 200-year-old organization. Like, of course, there's going to be. So, you know, when you discover certain things, like, you know, off the top of my head, that, you know, Brigham Young did some really sketchy stuff, or, you know, that some of the stuff that Joseph Smith did as a kid, like, yeah, I mean, that's you know, a little faith shaking, but like, there are apologetic reasons for all of it. So.
Also, what's up, Beamsy? Said in love. And can I ask how do you view Joseph Smith?
Oh, I mean, he was a prophet. Like, you know, basically how everyone else views Moses, I view Joseph Smith in a similar way. He was a prophet of the restoration. He, you know, restored the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and restored the Church of Jesus Christ. And, you know, yeah.
What can I ask? What there would take you to? That is so. What it would take for you to change your mind?
Like, to what specifically? Like, change my mind to another branch of Christianity, or to, you know, turn away from religion altogether?
Well, I guess just Joseph Smith very specifically, but I guess we could broaden it out also to religion in general.
Oh yeah. So, like, you know, turning away from Joseph Smith is the foundation of the entire church, and, like, you know, the scripture that he produced. And so, like, you know, if Joseph Smith was wrong, then my entire faith is wrong. And so, you know, at the very least, I'd have to leave the church.
So
what it would take for me to do that would probably be something along the lines of, you know, like a lot of the revelations that he came up with, like the Book of Mormon, like the Book of Moses, Book of Abraham. Like, if he had a lot more help than the historical record says that he has, or if, like, you know, he had some way of coming up with a whole lot of the things that he should not have been able to know about, like, yeah, I'd be a lot more skeptical of the things that he did.
What exactly?
And then if I were to turn away from Christianity in general, like, I think the Bible makes a pretty solid case for, at the very least, you know, essentially that, you know, prophecies were told about Christ, and then he fulfilled them thousands of years later, or like 1,000 years later in some cases. So, like, there again needs to be some really earth-shattering stuff going on there in order to disprove Christianity.
Do you know how, I would say, an outsider views Joseph Smith?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's you know, a polygamist. He's a con artist. He's a, you know,
keep going.
Basically those two. Would be generally how people view him.
Without attacking his character, but I would like to ask you two questions in regards to things. You say that predictions were made in regards to Jesus Christ, but no predictions have ever been presented forward that he either fulfilled or was made about him any time before his apparent existence. And secondly, if the Mormon religion is based on what was translated from golden tablets, why have these golden tablets never been presented to anyone, especially in modern times where we have the ability to translate to a higher degree now than we have ever had before?
Well, so remind me the first question again.
The first question was, Jesus Christ has never fulfilled or been represented in any prophecy that has ever been made about him or in regards to him.
So, like, Jesus Christ hasn't, like, fulfilled prophecy, or I'm sorry, I don't get what you're saying there.
There has never been any prophecy in regards to Jesus Christ, and no prophecy has been fulfilled following Jesus Christ.
What do you mean?
Like, I think you know, there's a whole bunch of things that Jesus Christ did that is talked about in, you know, the Old Testament, like all over the place. The Isaiah chapters, a lot of the stuff in Exodus. He like, and then if we look at the broader themes of the Bible, like he absolutely fulfills a ton of the things that did happen biblically. So I don't know where you're saying that we can say like he didn't fulfill anything.
That's all.
Beamsy, I'd like to point out there's only one purely Mormon prophecy that was ever accurate, and that's
she
Joseph
came
Smith
on.
predicted the year that the Civil War would start and the state.
What's up, Sinister? I saw your question, but now it's even better because now you're on.
Well,
But yeah,
I'm just
Mine was more just a general one rather than going for Joseph Smith because I don't want to actually attack his character. I just want to I want to bring forth information.
Yeah, like
facts.
yeah. So in regards to the golden plate specifically, I mean, he said he gave them to an angel. So
Convenient,
we can say that that's because God didn't want him to try and use the plates for monetary value.
Seems like a nice guy.
Like it'd be very hard to disprove the LDS faith
But
if we
Joseph
had
Smith
a copy
is a con artist.
of something that it should have been possible to like translate. But like that would be
faith.
such a solid evidence that like, at that point you don't really have faith anymore. You have knowledge that something must be going on here, whether that's something supernatural going on. So yeah, I mean Joseph Smith specifically said that he gave those plates to an angel and that they were taken up into heaven.
But we do have proof that Joseph Smith did not have the translation abilities he claimed, because the Book of Abraham is actually based off of a very common Egyptian funerary text known as the Book of Breathings.
Yes, and so in regards to if we're going to talk about the Book of Abraham, like there's a number of things we have to talk about. First, Joseph Smith bought a bunch of scrolls, okay, and the vast majority of the scrolls were lost in the Great Chicago Fire. The things that survived were a couple of fragments that they kept on display that were in a different part of the museum. So yes, the sections that we have surviving, LDS scholars have translated, and they are from a Book of the Breathings. They are from the Book of Breathings. Some Theban priest.
You've gotten the story wrong because someone actually took like the I can't remember what they're called. A section of the Book of Abraham, the facsimiles, I think they're called, and asked Joseph Smith about it. And the Egyptologist, which was a relatively new science at the time, said it was just a fairly common Egyptian funerary text. Now, when it comes to Joseph Smith, we also have other proofs of his claims of his year that aren't true, such as the Kinderhook plates.
The Kinderhook plates. So, again, like we don't like the vast majority of the stuff we don't have, and to just finish off the Book of Abraham. So, like he did point out specific things that Abraham would have figured that the Abraham and his descendants would have thought the pictures on it meant. That doesn't mean that that's what the Egyptians thought, because if one group of people could take a look at the same group of pictures and if they're trying to use them for religious purposes, mean two completely different things. Especially since Egypt was so incredibly long lasting that it's very easy for them to change definitions on things over the vast course of their history.
Yes, but sorry.
Yeah, and then regarding to the Kinderhook plates, like it's he translated like a translated air quotes allegedly like 2 sentences, like this is a book of, like, as I recall, it was like this is the book of Ham, who was a king or something. That's all he did, and then he never did anything else. And we have a copy of what he was trying to essentially like a copy of what he was trying to translate from the Egyptian papyri that he had. Like he was trying to like, oh, this might mean Ham, and so I'm going to write Ham as a translation, and I'm going to like essentially he was trying to do a secular translation. And on the first page of the booklet that he used to translate, we have the exact words. Like we have like, this means Ham, like it's like a big old square or whatever, and like this means king, and this means something else, and like those are like on the like one of the Kinderhook plates. It's so it's very obvious. He just grabbed.
Hold on.
Secular translation. Go ahead.
The Kinderhook plates were an obvious hoax because someone
yes, they were.
A tea leaf, or rather back of a tea container, just to test Joseph Smith's claims. Now, whatever was on there was about tea, of course, but Joseph Smith came up with some really elaborate story. I think it was about Joseph. So it seems to me like you're trying to do the fair claim, or was it Farms? I can't remember which Mormon apologetics group it is. That it's not a translation, it's an interpolation. But unfortunately, we have Joseph Smith's own words, and he's claiming he can translate any language because he's a seer. Now, since he's tested that claim and he's absolutely failed because we know the Kinderhook plates were not accurate, and also we can read the Egyptian hieroglyphs that the facsimiles are, as well as the actual text, because there are copies of the funerary fragments that were bought by Joseph Smith, because they are just the Egyptian Book of Breathings, a common funerary text. So you can say Mormonism is metaphorically true, but the claims that Joseph Smith is a seer are just off the table because he could not translate languages.
Well, okay, again, he never translated the entire, like, he never claimed to translate the entirety of the Kinderhook plates. Okay, he claimed to translate, like, we have the copy of like one of his character documents. Okay, one of the things that he was using to try and do a secular translation of Egyptian.
And we know.
And let me finish, please. I let you talk. I'm sorry, what was that?
Secular, I think you mean religious. I think you've got...
No, a secular translation. No, he'd used a secular translation. He was trying to, like, the way any scholar would attempt to translate things in the modern day. He would attempt to, align things that make, like, he would align pictographs with, attempted meanings, and then, match them up in a dictionary, and then, use that dictionary against other texts. Okay, that is what he was trying to do. And we know that very clearly because, like, the two things that he claimed to translate, and the only two things that he claimed to translate from the Kinderhook plates was, like, ham, which was a big square on his, dictionary that he had, and then, like, king, that was somewhere else. Like, it's very obviously, like, at the top of the Kinderhook plates, like, symbols look very similar to the dictionary that he had. So it's obvious what he was doing there.
That's the confusion, I think, here, because we're off the Kinderhook plates. I'm going to ignore them because they're clear hooks. The Book of Abraham was not the translation process. Now, I don't know if the seer stones that were allegedly used for the Book of Mormon were there or not. It doesn't really matter. We do know that from Egyptologists of the day, because it's clear that Joseph Smith did not know Egypt or ancient Egyptian, and there's no way he could have known the Rosetta Stone was discovered during his lifetime, because news just traveled too slowly at that time. The problem is the Book of Abraham does not match the Book of Breathings at all. And we know that's what the scroll is. So
can I finish, please? So, like I said, we have fragments of what he had. Okay, the vast, apparently they were able to roll out the scroll across a room. Okay, it was so incredibly long. The vast majority of it was lost in the Great Chicago Fire. And so we know that the fragments that he had were from a Theban priest. I can't remember the date, but it was like 1,000 years or like 2,000 years after Abraham, or when he would have been around. So it was obviously like, if it was from Abraham, it would have been copies of copies or whatever. But it was from an Egyptian priest of the dead. His work was with funerary text. Like, this was the Book of the Breathings. Okay, but it's, like, not impossible. Like, I mean, it's not impossible. It's like he never claimed there was nothing else on the text or nothing else on the scrolls. Like, it very easily could have had the Book of Abraham at the bottom of the scroll that was now unfortunately lost to the Great Chicago Fire. We do not have the entire scroll to fact check the claims. We only have fragments.
So if we can't fact check the claims, we have no evidence, and therefore we can dismiss it.
Well, so we can look at what the ancient, like, we can look at other apocryphal writings attributed to Abraham. Okay, and then we can see if those match up with the Book of Abraham that Joseph Smith produced. And it's been a long time since I looked into this, but as I recall, the stories are incredibly similar. There's tons of correlations to the apocryphal writings and to the one that Joseph Smith produced. So Yeah.
Okay, here's the problem with what you're saying. We know that the scrolls produced do not match up with the Book of Abraham at all.
We know
it's
that the stuff that we have.
Stop.
We don't have the entire thing.
Stop.
There was more.
Let me finish. I mean, I know it's hard sometimes. We know that the text is like, grant that the soul is breathes in the underworld and the pearl of great price. It's like some bizarre sacrifice scenario with Abraham. The text in the pearl of great price does not match up to the existing translations we have for the Book of Breathings. So we know that Joseph Smith's claims of being a seer are false. You are trying to say that it's possible he translated them from something else. Now, you have to provide evidence of that that's actually what happened. This is the same thing with the Book of Mormon. No one ever saw the golden plates with their physical eyes because there was a concept of spiritual eyes.
No. There were two separate groups that saw the
Yes,
gold plate.
and not one of them saw them with
No.
their physical eyes.
What are you talking about? The first group was the group of 3. Okay, they had an angel show them a physical copy, not a spiritual copy, a physical copy. The angel physically appeared to them and showed them the copy and told them what some of the stuff meant. Okay, and then there was the testimony of the 8 witnesses, in which 8 men received the golden plates and were able to touch it, look at it. While Joseph Smith was there. That wasn't a spiritual thing. That was an entirely physical thing. Okay, you don't get to make these claims if you don't even know what you're talking about. Okay.
Secondly, I do know what I'm talking about, and I think you don't.
Dude, read any. I will ask anyone here to read. Go to the beginning of any Book of Mormon. Read the testimony of the 3 witnesses and to read the testimony of the 8 witnesses. They say that they had a physical. They were given the physical copy of the gold plates by Joseph Smith. It wasn't any vision. It wasn't any mystical experience. They were factually going through it and looking at it and saying, okay, these are gold. Gold plates. They have characters on them. We can touch and feel them and examine them. Like, that was a thing. Like, you don't get to say they were only spiritualized. You might be able to claim that if only the testimony of the 3. We don't have only the testimony of the 3. We have the testimony of the 3 and the testimony of the 8.
What we do know is that there was a concept of the time of spiritual and physical eyes. They did not. We do know also from historical accounts that Joseph Smith never took the golden plate supposedly out of some kind of wrapping when the 3 witnesses were shown. And now, I think I've read...
I'm not talking about the 3 witnesses. I'm talking about the 8 witnesses. The 8 witnesses didn't see it by spiritualized, whether or not you want to claim it for the 3 witnesses.
Yes,
I don't think you
they
can,
did
but you
claim
can
only to have seen it with spiritual eyes.
No, they didn't. Show me where it says it.
I think you have never looked into the actual history of your own religion.
Anyone can read the testimony of the 8 witnesses. Anyone can do that. They don't say they saw it with spiritual eyes. They say they were given it by Joseph Smith. They ran through the pages. In fact, I can pull it up right now, and we can see what they have to say for themselves.
Yeah, and you're only
using their own claims.
When it comes to something like this, you have to use extra sources outside of Mormonism.
You have to. You can't actually go to the own affidavit that they signed themselves, testifying of what they did. You can't use that. Why can't you
use that as part of the source? But you also have to understand that part of 19th century belief, according to D. Michael Quinn in The Magic Worldview, a book you might want to read, is the idea of there are spiritual eyes and physical eyes. Now, a lot of what they said, and I'm not saying they're lying, but a lot of what they said, and remember, Joseph Smith does have a reputation, even had at the time as a con man, was that they did not actually physically see the golden plates at any time. They saw something Joseph Smith claimed was the physical plates, but it was always some way hidden from them.
Okay, and all right, I'm going to read the testimony of the 8 witnesses. Be it known unto all nations, kindreds, tongues, and people, unto whom this work shall come, that Joseph Smith Jr., the translator of this work, has shown unto us the plates of which hath been spoken, which have the appearance of gold. And as many of the leaves as the said Smith has translated, we did handle with our hands. And we also saw the engravings thereon, all of which had the appearance of ancient work and of curious workmanship. And this we bear record with words of soberness, that the said Smith has shown unto us, for we have seen and hefted and known of a surety that the said Smith has got the plates of which we have spoken, and we give our names unto the world, to witness unto the world that which we have seen, and we lie not, God bearing witness of it. Okay? You can make the case that the testimony of the 3 was spiritual eyes. Okay? I think that's wrong, but you can make that case. You cannot make the case that they saw this with spiritual eyes for the 8 witnesses. You cannot do that.
Yes,
Okay?
I can.
They
What
hefted
you are
them.
making the
They
case is
felt
that
them.
because they
They
said
ran
this,
their fingers
therefore
through
they
the
are
leaves.
not there. Therefore, they couldn't have been mistaken.
They couldn't have been mistaken about hefting the plates, lifting them up, running
What
their
we
fingers.
know from other sources is that Joseph Smith never showed the plates to anybody.
I would love to see these sources. I would absolutely love to see these sources.
Have you
But
looked outside of Mormonism?
I have looked outside of Mormonism.
I
I've
mean,
seen nothing that refutes the testimony of the 8 witnesses or the testimony of the 3 witnesses. I would love to see something that shows that they were lying when they wrote down a signed affidavit of what they did for Joseph Smith. I would love to see that. Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
And that's
when
actually very
somebody
interesting. I've never
says
heard a
I'm not
Mormon say
lying,
this.
that kind of makes you suspicious they're lying.
No, okay. So any signed legal document is now suspect. That's not how this works. If you're signing your name on a legal
I
document,
have never read a legal document that includes the words "I am not lying."
let's be honest. They may just have been mistaken. Joseph Smith did have a reputation as a con man in the area.
Dude, they
It
may
doesn't
just
mean they
have
were
been
lying.
mistaken.
They
What
just
is
could have been
this?
honestly mistaken.
What is they hefted them. They lifted them. They ran their fingers through the leaves, which had the appearance of gold. I don't know how you can be mistaken about this. Okay, if I'm going to sign something, okay, and that signed copy of what I testify is going to be at the front of a book that I know will have thousands of copies printed. Okay, and I say stuff like, and we bear record with words of soberness. We lie not, God bearing witness of it. Okay, we witness unto the world that which we have seen. Okay, I'm going to be very careful that I'm not mistaken, that I'm not, lying about what I'm doing, or I'm not doing any of these. Okay, like I don't know how you can make these claims that they actually didn't. Joseph Smith actually didn't show them to them. They just saw with their spiritual light. They lifted it with their spiritual hands. They ran their fingers through the leaves with their spiritual how. I don't.
So I'm confused. Are you saying because these people wrote down what they saw, therefore what they saw is the case?
Bill Clinton made the claim that he had no sexual relationships with Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah,
He swore it in
I'm
court.
not saying they couldn't have lied. Okay, I'm not saying that it's not impossible that they couldn't have lied. I would love to see if any of them ever refuted their testimony.
Three of them fell away from
they
the
don't.
faith.
They wouldn't need to contradict themselves to have them lie. But the thing is, if your standard of evidence for groundbreaking things occurring is other people's words with zero evidence, then at what point are we just going to say that?
Well, okay.
I don't mean to interrupt. Can I just say something very quickly? Just really quickly. It's not even like their individual words. It's like, here's a statement and here's our signatures. So yeah, 8 people signed it.
Oh no, it was definitely their individual words. Each of them wrote individual statements. That's not in question.
Okay, that's fine. That's not what we read. And that's fine.
Well, there are more statements in the book.
Yeah, no. I believe you. I'm just saying that's not what he presented. So.
Yeah, but can you answer the question? Is your standard of proof that all known laws of physics breaking is someone else's 8 people's word?
Well, okay, I don't know where we're getting all known laws of physics are breaking from Joseph Smith owning a copy of golden plates. That's there's no laws of physics breaking just by him having something that
but you're saying he lifted this into the sky with the
what?
What's being said? I'm so
confused. No, I never. No, it said they lifted them. They said that they hefted them. Okay, that means that they lifted, they held them. Okay, to heft something is to hold it. Okay, I never said anything about magically setting it up into the sky. No. I'm just saying he gave them to the 8 men. They held them. They looked at them. They examined the different pages. They saw that there were characters on them. That's what they said in the testimony. Okay, they physically examined the plates. Okay, so you can't say it was just spiritual eyes because they were physically examining them.
Yes, we can, because that was common belief at the time, and Joseph Smith was known to do things like this. They might have thought.
They touched it with their spiritual hands. They saw
Someone
it
who
with
knows
their spiritual
psychology
eyes.
more than
They
I do.
lifted it with its. No, that's not how. No, like
I'm
yes.
not interested in what the text says at this point.
Oh, we're not
I'm trying
interested
to
in what
explain
people signed.
this to you. You
Signed
keep
and
trying
said
to quote
their
the
own
I
text.
can write a
testament.
book and put anything in it. You need something to prove it. If you don't
Okay,
have that,
so-
the idea is like don't
And so now we
act
can
like
look
you
at-
have proof. It's
But
ridiculous.
there's a common belief at the time that people had spiritual and physical eyes. Every witness would later say that they all saw things with their spiritual eyes, but not their physical eyes, because there was a common belief in the early 19th century that you had a spiritual body as well that had everything your regular body did, and instead of
the concept goes back tens of thousands of years, but
yeah,
you think white people or Jews created it or something?
I wish I kept some of my links, because one of the things when trying to research Mormonism is trying to sort out fact from fiction.
Oh, this is about Mormonism? What a waste.
I mean, I think Mormonism is fascinating.
I think it's retarded. It's like playing a game of telephone. You have like 50 versions of Christianity, then you got full retard Mormonism, right? Fuck.
No, because it's like the Mormon claim is that there is a prophet after Jesus, but nowhere in the Bible does it say
That's
Jesus
what
was
Jews
the last
claimed.
prophet.
That's literally what Jews claimed. So the Mormons did what? Go back in time and reanimate Jewish texts? Like, what the fuck?
The Jews didn't claim there was prophets after Jesus.
Yeah, they did.
With the Jews.
Yeah, the Jews literally said there's endless messiahs, prophets, who come for various cycles across time. They help the Jews through that time period.
I think it is good.
A new time period starts, a new messiah
Sorry, I have that
until the infinite. Like, that's literally Judaic beliefs.
That's the case.
You want me to
we'll
link
just
you?
talk for the next month, so I'll get
Sure.
you guys later.
Gotcha.
One issue that I do have to pick up about, you made the claim that Joseph Smith used skeptical means to translate his Egyptian scrolls of the dead, but Antoine Gallard had printed in 1802 the Commission de Sciences et des Arts. That was a direct translation of the Rosetta Stone, so they already had a way to read Egyptian hieroglyphs. So using a skeptic method, they would have just used that book.
Well, at the time,
did they have access to? I don't think they had access to anything like those. These sorts of things don't spread very quickly.
in the side
Like,
chat.
one university might have it, but not rural New York.
This is like Judaism 101, by the way.
It would have been because it was published in 1802, and it was quite widely published. It was then published as the Commission of the Science and the Arts in the Gentleman's of 1804 in English.
Beamsy, the problem is that news took quite a while to reach the Americas, and that's
Yeah, exactly. Like you weren't like the Rosetta Stone were translated by a Frenchman. Okay, so it would have spread initially among France, and then some of the scholars in England, because they were always competing with France, they might have translated in all their stuff into English from France. Okay, and then Germany would have gotten involved. Italy probably would have gotten involved. Okay, but like America was a backwater. Okay, America didn't get anything. It was very, very hard to get stuff over there, and it was very, very slow to get stuff over there. So regardless of stuff being printed in like 20 years beforehand in Europe, in France,
Maybe this was
not
the
going
1800s. This was not like the 1600s. You do realize that, right?
Yes, and the 1800s is not like the 2000s. Okay, like it still takes a while. They had to take boats in order to get their information across anywhere. Okay,
yeah, but it wouldn't take 100 years.
No, it wouldn't take 100 years, but it could easily take 20. And it's not like Joseph Smith was a farm boy. Okay, he spent like while he was translating all of these things, he was largely in the backwoods in New York. Okay, not in the city of New York, in the backwoods, rural New York. Okay, like he wasn't interacting with these gentleman clubs or anything. Okay.
Just a correction on what you said. Yes, it was translated initially by Antoine Gallard from France, but it was then handed across to John Hedley Hutchinson as a representative of the British Museum in 1807.
Yes.
That's why it was actually able to be translated both in French and English.
Beamsy, I think that... Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I said. That is literally what I said. I said that the British were probably going to get it very closely afterwards because they were constantly competing. And lo and behold, I was right. 5 years later, the British got a hold of it. Okay, but it doesn't mean it got to America.
I just want to bring up something earlier. There's no need to call Mormonism whatever you call it there. That is a slur. It is a valid American religion. It's an interesting American religion.
Wait, what did he call it? I don't think he called it a slur, bro.
Yes, he did.
What did I call it? I was just asking in regards to
Not
the
talking about
translation.
you.
It wasn't
my
Beamsy.
apologies.
Yeah, I don't think there's a slur for specific religions, bro.
No, it was a slur for a certain type of person. With
Yeah, he called it mentally deficient, a religion for mentally deficient people. But
retarded?
Yeah, that is what I said previously.
I'm just avoiding any aspect of anything that could be taken for Joseph Smith being a con man or anything else like that. I'm just pointing out that you made the claim that he would have approached it from a skeptic aspect of it, and a skeptic would have had access to this publishing. And considering the Boston fires didn't happen until 1860, that's 60 years of an opportunity to get them translated.
Well, so I never said he was like going to libraries and researching this. Okay, like he considered himself to be a prophet with revelatory abilities, and so the way that he was essentially he had a copy of he had all of the Egyptian scrolls, okay, that he claimed he got the Book of Abraham from, okay, and he would take like the copies of the scrolls and he'd say, okay, so when I was reading this, I got this I got this word, okay, and so like this word seems to match up with this Egyptian pictogram, okay, and so I'm gonna put in my dictionary that this Egyptian pictogram means this dictionary definition, okay, and so that's why we can say that, okay, like we can on the first page or the second page of his dictionary document, he had like something that looks a lot like a square, and he said that means Ham.
Well,
okay, like as in the son of
But none of that is
Noah.
Egyptian, though. None of that is Egyptian or Demotic or anything related to that. Reformed
Oh, yeah,
Egyptian is not a
obviously,
real
obviously,
language.
Kinderhook
It's not a real
Hold on.
language, so.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
Obviously,
Reformed Egyptian is not-
it's absolutely like complete bunk. Like none of it actually means anything.
First of all, I think there are a couple confusions here. Reformed Egyptian is the language Joseph Smith claims to have.
Yeah, specifically
the Book of Mormon in. The Book of Abraham is translated incorrectly from the Egyptian Book of Readings. Ask a Mormon has been trying to say that we've lost the actual book, but the problem is the Egyptian scrolls do not mention anything about Abraham. It's just like a common funeral prayer.
Well, okay, and I've been trying to say this for a while now. So like it's very easy that we could have like the first chunk of the scroll is all about the Book of the Breathings because it was owned by a Theban priest in like the year like 1600 BC or whatever. And so we can say like, yes, obviously that Theban priest is the first thing he's going to have in his scroll that he uses for all of his funerary activities is going to be the Book of the Breathings. Okay, it's what the claim is of LDS scholars is that there was a second half to the scroll on which there was the Book of Abraham. Okay, it doesn't need to mention Abraham if the first half of the scroll is on the Book of Breathings. If the second half of the scroll is on the Book of Abraham.
Ask the Mormon. Can I ask, what would it take to convince you that Joseph Smith was a con man?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, like if one specific things that I take a special note of is Nahum, Bountiful, the Frankincense Trail, all the stuff that happens in the Book of Mormon that happened in the Old World. So we can note with pretty much absolutely, like we can follow the exact path that Joseph Smith claims the family traveled in the early parts of the Book of Mormon. And it seems impossible for him to have known about any of those areas since Saudi Arabia was not known to people in America at that time at all. So that like if we could show that he had access to very detailed maps that only existed in like the most exclusive of like European aristocrat libraries or something like that, that'd be a big hit. If we could, and then the second thing is I'm really impressed by his ability to take like dozens of correlations from the Book of Enoch and put them into a 2-page document in the Book of Moses that have massive amounts of correlations to a Book of Enoch that we found in like the 1940s and it was released to the general public in the 1970s. And it's like tons of correlations over the course of like 2 pages on both of them. So if we could show that, like he had a copy of some way of like the Book of Enoch or something, that'd be again another massive ding.
So you're saying he had information that he couldn't know any other way but through a supernatural means?
Yes.
I do not see that. I'm sure you. I know that Joseph Smith, as far as I'm concerned, he got many things wrong. For instance, the Israelites being from North America.
Well, it'd be the other way around. Yeah, it'd be like the Native Americans being from the Israelites. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like there were.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. What are you talking about? That's so dishonest. I cannot let you continue.
Wait, why is that dishonest? That actually is a major claim of the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Both of those things are
absolutely
true.
sure it is,
Both
and it's
of those
dishonest
things
as
are
fuck.
I don't know. I wouldn't listen to a harlot, but
why?
My biggest question
Nobody gives a fuck what you have to say. So
you sell your tits, lady. You sell your photos, lady.
nobody
wanna
gives
hear
a
it.
fuck what you have
And
to
we
say.
should support
you fucking incel. Be
sex
quiet.
work.
Don't act
because
like you're a woman of God. Don't act like you're a woman of God.
She's not a woman
Shut
of
the
God.
fuck up.
We're,
I'm an
we're
atheist.
not
I don't give
women
a
of
fuck.
God. Yes, that's the whole point. And so sex
I don't
work
think
is
you're.
a
I
good
don't think
thing.
you're a woman in general. Actually, I don't know.
No, she's a new man.
Discord, yes,
She
but
is a
also-
new man. Notice that.
And if you don't
Notice the
mind,
play on words.
I do not have to consider you a man, so we are equal.
Now, may I
Yep.
ask you a civil
Yes.
question in regards to not knowing a Saudi Arabia? You do realize that the Crusades were something that happened since the 11th century.
Yeah, so Jerusalem, yes, you can know about Jerusalem. Yeah, like you can know that it's notable that according to
shut up, nigga.
Okay,
this
it's
room,
notable that according
this room
to
is getting
Joseph-
trolled right now.
Do you understand what a Saracen is?
There's a hole in this chat, bro. What is this?
Hello everybody.
Did
I
I
would like
hear
to.
somebody here has an OnlyFans or something?
And
Yeah, that's me. But it's only
so-
pictures of fans in erotic positions.
There you go.
She likes showing her big tits for money. I don't see the.
Okay.
Oh my god! When your balls actually drop and you're actually like an adult, then you can fucking speak again.
Shit, I'm ready.
I'm gonna buy your OnlyFans later.
Yo, she looks like Mr. Rosa.
I have a couple questions for you, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We want to actually listen to the conversation. Jokes aside, let's continue the talk.
Tsunami mommy.
Are you aware
Nobody
that
gives a fuck.
ACXR, please be respectful to the lady.
And so religion is obsessed with sex, so that's where it comes from.
Are you aware of Ask a woman, are you aware that
Religion is obsessed with sex?
Oh,
do you think that maybe you're
Answer
projecting?
the original question. Though.
Do you think that maybe you're projecting?
No.
Hey, Amy Newman, I have a question. Amy Newman.
Okay.
No, it's
do you have
new man. It's pronounced new
hey,
man.
Shut your mouth, Dante. Listen, hey, Amy Newman, do you have a pair of balls or what?
Why?
you?
Do
Have
you
your
plan on
balls dropped
taking
yet?
me out on a date?
Yeah, I do. I do have a pair of balls.
No.
Can you just answer the fucking question?
I think
Why
it's
you guys?
a
Alright.
Why are you guys getting offended?
ACXR and DG.
Okay. Are you
Conservatives are conservatives are gross. Christians and Muslims are insane. I'm not adding you. Ew. Fuck turf trash. Like, I'm gonna slap you if I ever see you.
What about conservative Muslims?
Like, I'm gonna slap this lady. Like, I might have to.
Oh, Sumami.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You happen to have a father in your life?
Sumami, you're literally a bad
Yo, I'm Lucy. Yo, do you have a father in your life, lady?
Do you have a father in your life, baby?
No, he's upstairs, right next room, sleeping, bro. Don't worry, bro.
Bitch, you live with your fucking parents. You pathetic
Yes, bro. Yes, I live with my parents.
Give me
Is your father a positive influence in your life?
I make my money selling my vagina. I'm a whore.
Oh my god.
And you're an
capitalism.
Women empowered, baby. She likes that pussy. She likes
dirty whore. No dignity.
Baby, we know that
even if you're religious or not.
This fucking bitch. All she does is run around Discord and call
That Mormon guy wasn't a nice guy.
Regardless of your religious status, if you sell your vagina, you are like you should die. I'm gonna kill you.
Smelly whore.
Like a death threat at the end. Okay, but like, what?
Regardless of your religious status, if you sell your body, you're a disgusting person.
Regardless of your religious That is, I live with my
Your father never raised you. I'm sorry to hear it. I'm sorry to hear your father was never involved.
My father raised
I wish. I feel for you. I feel bad for you. I feel
My
sorry
father
for you.
actually raised me to live on my own as an adult and made
Yeah, I'm sure he raised you. I'm sure he raised you to live on your own. I can tell you live on your own.
He raised you to ride the pole. Listen, you know you're gonna ride the pole.
Listen. Okay, but how much?
And we
Real
can tell
question.
that you live with
Real
your
question
parents.
though. Real question. How much?
How much you
Okay,
making though?
like.
And
How
we
much-
can tell that you live with your
How much
parents.
is the racks though? How much
I
is
don't
the
understand. I just started.
How much do you charge for a blowjob?
Like honestly, she has a good job.
Oh boy.
Hate here.
Not a good job, man.
Some sex.
Yeah,
Because
that
they're
is that.
virgins and they don't get laid.
Hold
and
on,
they
I'm
get
gonna
triggers.
look up
Can I
her
ask-
Twitter. I'm gonna look up her
It's
Twitter.
actually really sad.
Do you flip burgers? What do you do?
Yo, can we
I
get
suck dick for a living, but that's different though.
But see,
She's a hoe.
But do you notice?
She's a hoe.
She has a
No, but-
job.
Yeah,
But that's
she's a
different
hoe.
though. But that's different.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Newman, I don't know what the hell you think a job is, but like being a hoe
you do
is
it.
not
I
a job.
taking a picture
Yeah.
Fucking ill whore.
What are her Irish?
Mentally
I don't know.
retarded.
I don't.
Fucking.
It's not respectable to me that she sells her pussy online. I just don't see that.
Hey Amy. Hey Amy.
How much for a monthly subscription? $3.99. $3.99 for some pussy.
Amy, you're a man. Amy, you have a ball sack. You're a man.
Okay. I think Gigi, excuse me, guys, please, can I speak? I think honestly, I think slut shaming and assuming that someone is a man and not respecting the pronouns are different. Let me speak, please, lady. I'm sorry.
Mocking
is
crazy,
Amy, I'm just trying to be respectful to you here. I'm trying to prove a point, and I'm saying that no, transphobia should be allowed under any circumstance. But she's.
Shut the fuck up and go to bed, you fucking child. Go to bed.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
I'm just trying to be respectful to him. I'm trying to her, them.
Make up your parents.
Hey,
I'm trying to be
Trying to
respectful.
have a conversation.
But my
Junior.
point is,
I'm trying to be respectful to Amy. I'm just trying to be respectful to Amy, but she's not letting me apologize in behalf of Gigi. So I would like to apologize to Amy for what Gigi has said.
Somebody else. And why would that matter?
Gigi's a little insensitive little fuck.
nice to me
So
they
I would like to
can
apologize
be
on
mean.
it.
I'm sorry, but that person
Yo,
has
you're
a
still
penis.
streaming, bro.
That person has a penis.
That's
therefore
insensitive.
Unlike your God, who never had a penis.
You. None of you have balls.
Oh
None
my
of you are
God,
actually male.
Salami, you dumb whore. Shut
Mommy,
up.
I'm gonna put my balls on your face. I'm gonna put.
Your balls are never gonna get anywhere near a woman, you pathetic little bitch.
You pathetic little bitch.
Like,
Oh my God!
All of you know, you
Bro,
sound
you're
like
not-
a
What are this lady?
Get fucking balls.
Dude, she's like dude, she's literally a Mia Khalifa Nazi, dude. Listen
You're
to
not
this
a
nonsense.
woman. You're just a
Oh my
fucking
God!
body.
Shut your mouth! Shut your mouth! Shove a toy in it.
You're not a
Shove a
fucking
toy
man.
in
You're
it,
not even a body.
okay?
You can't
Like,
even
yeah, that's not
That's
a sex. That's not a sex toy. That's a mic.
comeback.
I'm a more man
Can I ask the real question? Can I ask the question? Please, guys, let me speak, guys, please.
I'm more
How
manly
many?
than your
Can I
dad.
ask you the real question to mommy? Can I ask the question?
You smelly little whore.
Can I ask the real question? How many bodies? How many bodies you got, baby? How many
How many people
bodies?
you had in your vagina?
Can I ask you a
Nobody's
question?
nobody's
ask you a
going near that
question?
crust.
No, you can't. Sorry.
Dude,
Sorry.
that's why
You have to
she's
say-
on here.
It's his nightmare.
You forgot to put "sir" at the end of your sentence.
She
whore.
thinks that no men get laid because
Bitch,
no men.
can I ask you a
are
fucking question before I
Ask
tell you
nicely, you
what
dumb slut. Say, can I ask you a question, sir?
Okay, can I?
You better be respectful.
Oh my
You better be
God.
respectful when you speak to me.
Oh, you're such a bad girl. You're so angry.
You haven't
You're so fucking ugly and stupid, and that's why you're a fucking pathetic loser that lives
Oh,
with
you're
your
so
parents.
You better be
angry.
respectful to me before I beat you up, you scum bucket.
Okay, let's see. There you are.
Changing your fucking mind about women and
Oh,
trans
yeah.
that never fucking
Holy
lost
shit!
it,
This is why.
Riley.
This is why.
It's unhealthy to
The
be
reason
around
she's
these
an
judges.
ethon is that nobody can take 5 minutes of her in real life.
Shut up, you dumb fuck. You're literally a fucking male. Go fuck yourself.
Okay,
Shut
I
up.
don't care.
And
So
you're not.
define reason for
If
prostitution.
you're gonna go by the name Amy, could you try to present as female at least?
Yeah, I know. Your voice is deeper than mine, bro. That's crazy.
All you do is ad hum. So I'm gonna
All you
repeat
do
my
is
claim.
There was no ad on there.
Listen. Tumami, can I speak to you heart to heart?
I didn't call you names, and I didn't devalue your argument based on your
Get any word in.
Hey, Amy Newman.
Listen. Can I ask you how much? Can I ask you how old you are, Tumami? I just want to know respectfully. Just want to know.
Can I ask you how many pills your fucking mom takes to pass out every night to fucking ignore you and like be the
Probably
come out of
3 or
nowhere.
4.
I feel like
How many
Please
pills
let me
does
answer.
your mom take every day? Deal with the
I
failure
don't know.
that's
Once again,
I don't know. Probably 3 or 4. Probably 3 or 4. But
Sumami, your only talent is people to just jerk off and cum on your fucking face.
I don't even think that happens. Like honestly, like
No,
she's on Discord.
No,
Like,
listen, she's
why
beautiful.
is
She's a
she
beautiful
spending
woman.
time- Why is she spending time with a fucking hip-hop boyfriend? She doesn't have any.
Hey, Amy Newman, you notice how the other female? Hey, Amy Newman, you notice how the actual female in the video just have fucking 3 roles? Fucking, it's fucking identifying themselves as female.
Yo.
Fucking false.
No, bro.
Oh my god, shut up. Oh my god.
Yo, stop yelling, bro.
It's generated in like middle school level shit.
Sumami, does it grip on my meat though?
It definitely does not grip, bro.
Bro, take it. It's literally a fucking prostitute and a transgender.
Yeah, but I also was a
This
prostitute too.
prostitute.
So it's
You're a
two
legal
prostitutes.
prostitute, bro.
There you
Oh,
go.
you're a prostitute too? And you're a guy?
Oh, I know.
OnlyFans is legal prostitution.
Does this mean that I get to talk now? That I also sold.
At least.
Okay, guys, can we have? Listen, can we start having a more civilized
customers because you're on Discord trolling guys here.
Dante, listen. Boys, men, women, and dumbs, and boys. Please, can we have a respectful conversation? Can we talk one at a time? Please, guys.
I'm sorry, fellas. I can never.
Was I over talking somebody? I must have muted them for being a dumbass.
Dante, I respect what you think, but can we be respectful to everybody around us as well? Thank you. Let's speak once at a time, guys.
Who the fuck are you talking to being respectful? This bitch coming here calling every motherfucker.
Why do they allow minors on
Right, because
Discord?
nobody
I
wants
didn't call anyone an incel.
Why did they allow minors in Discord?
Why do they let fucking whores like you on anywhere, man?
I don't know if he's talking to me, but I think you got the wrong guy, bro. I'm on your side.
We're just anti-prostitutes. We're not incels.
She's calling you an incel now?
We're
That's
not
what I'm saying.
misogynistic because you're not a fucking.
Her brain is fucking
This nightmare.
This girl is literally exploding.
These women make money to sell.
Guys, what happened one time?
Tumami, how's it gonna feel when you're 25 with no husband, bro? Like you're 36. You're 36. You're 36.
So
25.
I think the prostitute.
How's it gonna feel when you die alone? Because no man wants to marry that used up stinky pussy of yours.
I love how fucking stupid you bitches are that you think that I'm younger than
If I catch you on the street, I'm punching you regardless of you.
It's
Oh my
gonna
god,
be
you
legal.
dirty whore.
And
You're a
If you're a woman, I'm gonna domestically punch you.
guys
look at the
will
meat
be
pieces
in
of you,
the
bro.
minority.
Damn,
You're
all right.
just not gonna be
And then I-
Regardless of you being a woman or not, I think if I see you on the street, she's gonna punch right in the face. Right in the face.
I think that you guys are
Bro, I got more followers than you. You're so weird, dude. I got more followers than you, bro. What the fuck?
Dirty whore.
That stinky what's the pussy is gonna be mine someday. I know it will.
I know it will. You can't even speak English properly, baby, and I know
Oh, she called me baby. She called me baby. I feel my dick getting hard. I cry.
I know because you're a pathetic incel.
People are paying for this shit, dude. You're
I know, baby. I know.
Nobody's paying, bro. She's 100 fucking followers.
Keep calling me baby, and I might send you $100 tip. Keep calling me baby. I might send you $100 tip, baby.
If you live with your
How
parents,
much
you
fun
fucking
is this for
waste.
you guys?
Bro, I'm gonna fuck your parents. I'm gonna fuck them both.
You're literally retarded. He's a minor. Like you act
I'm
like
gonna
that's
have
an
a
insult.
threesome with your parents.
You're
Oh my
just
god, I'm gonna put up parents as a minor. Oh my god, what
I'm
wow.
gonna have a threesome with you and your parents. I'm gonna make you fuck your dad.
You know, I really must inquire. This is hilarious, but how much fun are you guys having? Because I'm having a lot of fun here.
Oh, I'm having a lot of fun here. Yeah.
Okay, I understand, Chad. I understand.
Get the YouTuber mic.
Yo, this guy, you have a voice smart on. Turn that shit off, bro. Turn that shit off.
I don't have a voice. I don't have a voice smart on, Chad.
Okay, can I FaceTime you? Can I FaceTime
Hello,
you?
gentlemen. Hello, gentlemen.
Probably a few more minutes of this, and that's about all I can handle.
Hey, Sumami. So, like, how many dicks at a time?
Real question. I'm trying to. Okay, wait. You think you could like deep throat like 4.3? Like, can we work with what I have?
Bro, she's not skilled, bro. She's digital, bro. She isn't skilled like that, bro. She isn't skilled like that.
Can you work with 4.3? Real question.
Can you work?
You're gonna have to suffer a lot.
God, Sumami, like you just keep getting angry, and you're such a retard.
Real question.
How big is he?
Turning me on the way she's getting angry.
All you're doing is saying
These dirty pedophiles asking minors how big their penises are.
I don't know what you're doing, but that's a little disrespectful drawing on her face. I think she's a very beautiful woman. You can't ruin her.
So do you guys have a reason that prostitution?
Shut the fuck up, bro. I don't know why this guy's talking to me, bro. Amy's not talking to me. Listen, Sumami.
I think we should always have a big orgy, guys. I think we should always have an orgy.
Do you have a reason for prostitution to be illegal?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, it is.
Like this
making money.
Okay. Then I'm gonna keep pushing for it to be legal.
Why did you say that?
Listen, baby. Listen. Your dad was never there in your life. That's a good function, man. I'm sorry for you. Your mom and dad never were there. That's the product. You're the product of no
your
parents.
Dad is upstairs. Does he beat you?
No,
parents definitely did not raise you correctly. Sumami, I will personally put you out on the street and sell you
Sounds like projection.
Listen, when you die, and they go to check the body. When you die and they go to check your body and check your private, what are they gonna see? Like a mushed up inside penis? Like I don't know.
No, bro, they're gonna see the fucking Grand Canyon. They're gonna see Grand Canyon.
Mimi, every time you
Oh my God, Sumami, shut the fuck up.
Yo, shut! I'm not. No, who's letting this whore talk, bro? Who's letting this whore talk?
But just because your dad is upstairs doesn't mean you have a positive.
Why are you so angry?
Yo, who's letting the whore talk, bro? Someone kick the whore out.
You fucking retard! Like, why are you so angry?
Bro,
You're a waste of oxygen. You're a waste of
You're
a waste of space.
Someone kick the whore from the chat, bro.
That is because you get it from.
Listen, Sumami, I will personally pimp you out on the street and sell your vagina. You can have 3% of the profits.
Why is she on my dick? Like, hop off my meat, bro. I know it's big, but like, you need to leave me alone. I'm not the only.
Yeah, like you're
It
so
also would have been very easy.
I know it's small. I know it is, baby. Don't worry. I'm self-aware, baby.
It would have been very easy to say that your dad doesn't beat you. And so if you
don't have a dad, you're a fucking
bro. You clearly needed the beating more than anyone else. You turned out like a little gay boy, bro. You turned out a little gay guy. You're a little gay boy.
God.
So
shut up.
Just because your dad
get the whore.
We know your name isn't fucking Amy. Like your name is not Amy. You dumb bitch. Your name is like fucking Chris or something.
Who gave the whore permission to talk? I'm gonna stuff my little penis in you.
You actually have to give
Mia, do you want any more food in your food bowl, Mia?
Well,
yes, baby, all of it. Give me all of it, baby.
Well, hello.
What the fuck? Sophisticated gent, how are you?
Well, hello, everybody.
Ew! What is that?
Look at
this
oh shit!
Yo, Amy's
yelling.
She has her webcam on, or he fucking has the webcam on. Ugly ass.
What the fuck is that? Where is it?
It's on her YouTube. Oh my
god! No, what the fuck?
There is no way you look at this
fat nigga on there.
Happy with yourself. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, Sumami, I'm gonna nut on your face if you don't stop talking to me.
Opening your mouth, Sumami.
Mia, hey.
Oh, Mimi.
Well, hello, everybody.
Baby.
Well, hello, everybody.
Sumami, if I catch you walking on the street, I don't care if you're a woman, I'm punching you. I'm my mom, bro. You get it?
Mia, I'll give you my address. fucking dad would probably shoot you in the back of your fucking
Oh
head.
my God,
I'm
your
sure.
dad hop in the stream. Hop in the stream.
I will kill your dad and kiss on his grave, baby.
I've gotten kicked out of the LGBT channel before, but I'd be fine to do it there.
Oh, this is her YouTube channel. She's not going to kick you out for that.
Yeah.
See,
Well, hello.
Why, hello. I feel bad, Mormon, because I am admittedly against Mormonism and Joseph Smith, but I find a lot of Mormons are really nice, and so I have that dichotomy.
Yeah, for sure.
But as I was trying to... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I do sometimes get a little excited and talk over people, and I do apologize for that.
Thank you, Beamsy.
But I was trying to say, Amy, if you're willing to do that, if we can take this over to your live stream and do it there, where you can mute us so we don't talk over each other.
And I probably have a good like half hour or so left, but I'll just shoot over. I'll send over the StreamYard. I'll take a gamble, because they delete general anyway. There's politics.
Oof.
Hey, woman, I just had a quick question for you.
Dude.
So, I take it that you are a active Latter-day Saint, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so on the subject about the geography and so on, I'm more interested. I'm less interested in what Joseph Smith knew, even though that's interesting, but rather. Why is it that the tribes of Arabia that knew of each other's existence,
Mr.
right?
Ask him one.
Well, let Muhajir first finish, please, and then we can.
No, I've been waiting
Yes.
so long, bro. Mr. Ask a Woman, I texted you something and you never really respond, and
Okay, and I will respond to you next. If you want, you can send it to me text. But I'm gonna
Justin, stop interrupting
then-
this guy.
then-
Let him finish.
I'm
20
gonna
minutes.
turn you down, and then I'll turn you back up once Muhajir finishes. So Muhajir.
Oh, I sent him the StreamYard.
In DMs or where?
In
Messenger.
DMs,
Okay.
yes, and I'll send it to Sinister. Well, Sinister and Beamsy, it should be in fucking chat.
All right.
Not quite. You didn't.
Well, it is now.
Get it on.
Okay. But yeah, Muhajir, real quick. Let's do that before I head over to the other thing.
Yeah, just a really quick question. So, if all the tribes along the western coast of modern-day Saudi Arabia had access to each other and knew of each other's existence, how come Lehi's tribe is never mentioned in any of their communiques, and we have access to all of them?
Can only
Well,
go
I mean,
to
for
4
one, because
people,
Lehi's tribe would have been interacting with them for like 10 years tops. Like they would have moved through the area, traveling, like mostly trying to hide from everyone else who probably would have been trying to kill them at the time, just to take all their stuff and everything. Like they would have had no reason to remember like some group that traveled through like over the course of 10 years, 1,000 years later. Like that's just not how oral histories work.
So merchant interactions in Saudi Arabia, they actually documented everyone they talked to because they wrote poetries about them. So in some sense, it's impossible to say that, for example, Banu Tamim, that is in northwest of modern-day Saudi Arabia, would not have known of Banu Hawazin, which is in the southwest corner. Like, they knew of each other. They wrote poetry about each other. We have access to these poetries. And it seems like
they would have made poetry about some random group that wandered across that tops like 10 people would have interacted with them for like 10 years.
That's probably like more of a reason. That's actually more of a reason to write a poetry about a wandering group of individuals who claimed prophethood, who had access to the divine, and
I talk to you, bro. You be quiet. Where are we going?
Hey, I should bring it.
Historically problematic claim.
Well, again, that only works if, for one, the Lehi group were actively interacting with everyone that they came across, It seems to be implied that they actively tried to avoid pretty much everyone else because they were all trying to kill him.
It's interesting because
claim been made. So like they're not going to be claiming prophethood. They're going to be running away every chance they get.
It's interesting because as Lehi. So do you know who Mustaylama is? Have you ever heard of that name?
Mustaylama.
Mustaylama. Have you ever heard of that?
Let me go somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know who Salamam is.
Okay, so that's a prophet. That's a prophet claimant from the Meccan region of Saudi Arabia. Okay, and his name was actually inscribed on a clay tablet found on the eastern side of the entire peninsula. So Mecca is on the western side, and his name is found on the eastern side. So it's interesting because that means his claim of prophethood, because Lehi made a claim. His claim went public. He went in secret, like he went in under the table and kind of like did not want anyone to know about him. But claims that were made of prophethood were taken very seriously and analyzed by soothsayers. So it's like for me, who knows about the history of Saudi Arabia, I'm very interested to know, as a Latter-day Saint, how do you justify the non-existence of the entirety of the lineage of Lehi, Nephi, and all of their
Who the fuck is Lehi P5, bro? What are you talking about, bro?
You can send me a source. Like I'd love to.
To be honest, I think it's entirely related to just the Arab community, the Arab culture.
So I can't really make any.
I don't know. I personally think Jesus did not die for your sins. I'm gonna tell you.
Mormon, whenever you want, feel free to come to the stream.
What the fuck are you? Why are you here?
Why? Because I do debate streams. That's kind of.
Bro, why are you talking about God, bro? You're transgender. Why are you talking about God? God does not want to hear you talk.
Oh, God, gravy. Somebody get this Mexican out of here.
Oh, baby, Mexicano, baby. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna fuck all of you.
Somebody get this Latinx out of here.
You listen, buddy.
Can we get some moderators in the chat, please?
We need to have some respect more in these chats. These are very disrespectful and racist talks.
I do want to send love to all of you, and I hope you all have a good night.
Thank you, baby. Bye.
Wow. Holy. Oh my God. Hold on.
What experience?
I can think again. Do you hear that? Oh my God. All right. Anyway, it was 2:45. We're gonna probably go for about 30 more minutes, and it's going to be Sinister and I think Hunter, and sending so much love as well right before we do this Fun in the Sun, sponsored by Ian Davenport. Thank you so very much, Ian. That's right, with the $5 super chat with the super sticker telling us to keep it up. I can't help it. Sending so much love, Ian.
You got him really worked up into a tizzy.
Well, and I guess I'll just say this, and then we'll go to an intellectual debate or chat. But like the obsession I find with many religious individuals and sects, I assume comes from the test. But like, I also noticed, I sometimes feel my apologetics sometimes, or should I say my counter apologetics, I go to where the water sometimes, the cracks lead, and just the having no fathers really seemed to like, they had no comebacks, not a single goddamn comeback when I started pushing back on that. And it's because I was only half joking, half banting, because I don't know what's going on when you have to act that deep. Some sort of parental issues are going on when you're going on to the internet and trying to make fun of women who are in the sex industry.
And they act like they don't they don't watch porn. Like they don't participate in any type of the sex trade.
I think they were offended that she called them incels, but the fact is, and that was after they said very nasty things, and yet once again, the amount of feminine embrace that I imagine these gentlemen have come across. Once again, we should not be measured by our partners, or it's not a game or a trophy, but it is just a very odd benchmark for them to put so much emphasis. That's why you should visit a whore. You should get your V card out of the way so that people should see that virginity is not that big a deal and it's not a supernatural force, and then live your life. Anyway, PSA. What was the other thing they were making fun of? I think they're just coming at me for the LGBTQ stuff.
Sex work, transgender, why you're a tranny, talking about.
But that's normal. That's the normal stuff. They'll calm down after later. All right, let's get Hunter on here. And this will be the wrap up of the night. Impromptu Debate You only has room for 4 people, and so we're gonna get our 4th. So with that, I even have this fancy freaking transition. Speaking of transitions, what was nuclear? I just think it's funny because that's the latest technology. But if we create a super, I don't know what would be more crazy than an atom bomb. I'm trying to think an anti-gravity bomb that just blows the planet away.
Antimatter.
Would that be the thing that it would really hot with all the evangelicals if the apocalypse, the doomsday comes and all the demons come down and they have horns and red, fire coming out, and they're like, we have come to really redecorate. We're actually into just getting colors to match, and they just, no one ever gets possessed and they do their taxes.
Redecorate.
Yeah, something positive happens.
We are going to make sure everybody gets their oil changed every 3,000
Exactly, James. I know Satan is in me because I got my oil changed correctly this time. I know that I was possessed because I gave to charity a little bit too much this month. I don't know. I guess not. Demons. They got a shtick. You got to stick with the shtick. All right, we could do this all night. Fancy transitions. No, something else. Woo! What is up, Hunter? Welcome to the stream. We probably have disagreements. However, we won't scream or call you whatever the hell was going on just a second ago. But welcome to Impromptu Debate You. We're having fun, and I know you two wanted to keep on talking, so we're here to listen.
All right. Thanks for having me on. I think we do have some pretty major disagreements, but I think in the end we can all come together and say, we all love each other and not insult each other or actively do anything like that.
Celebrate free speech and love each other.
Absolutely. Always down for that.
And forgive Lucifer, our spirit brother.
That may be slightly more difficult, but sure.
Actually, I'm not even sure the Mormon Church is still pushing that. So,
I mean, obviously, we would say that everyone is a child of God, and so including Satan, including Christ, and so we are all therefore spiritual children of God, and so spiritual brothers and sisters of each other. So yeah.
All right, and this is just coming back to something that was going in the chat. Amy, even after an orchiectomy, you would still have more balls than those guys.
Thank you so very much, Sinister. Sending that love right back to you.
All right, so one of the claims you seem to be making, I don't think you understand the problem with it, is that a lot of the translations Joseph Smith did have disappeared conveniently.
I mean, or the source documents that he's using for them, right?
Well, you're
Alleged
saying
source
that
documents.
your claim is they disappeared. My claim is we have the source documents and we have full copies of them, and the actual translations don't match what Joseph Smith wrote.
Yeah, and so like for the Book of Mormon, like we don't have any copies of those of the gold plates. They were taken up to heaven, or they just never existed in the first place. And so like that is a claim that can be made. Specifically regarding the Book of Abraham, like I know that Joseph Smith, like for the facsimiles, he did take interpretations. He did write down what he thought specific parts of the facsimiles said, and they do not match with the era of Egyptian history that the Rosetta Stone came from. It wasn't like classical. It was like I can't remember. Go ahead.
I was going to say the Rosetta Stone is ancient. I think it's Koine Greek, Egyptian, and one other language, which enables us to read Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but like the funny thing about Egyptian culture is that they were so incredibly old that towards the end of their empire, we have copies of them doing archaeology on something that we are closer to the Egyptians doing archaeology than those Egyptians were to the archaeology that they were digging up. So like I would say that Egypt is incredibly old, and so judging by what we know of how languages work, the hieroglyphs that they had might have changed meaning and might be different, but that's not the main thing that I would say. The main thing that I would say is that the Book of Abraham specifically is a Jewish document, and so the Jews would be interpreting like what the pictures mean. And so like if an Egyptian would look at that and say, oh well, obviously that's whatever angel is or whatever God is hovering over the thing, and then you have like all the different jars that they put the organs of the guy in and all that, and obviously the guy is being sacrificed, or not sacrificed, but embalmed on the table. Like an Egyptian would have that interpretation, but a Jew would look at that and say, well, we have like the guy is standing over him. We do know that at the very least he was still alive while he was on the table, which is not something you usually see in Egyptian embalming. Like his legs are raised and his arms are raised while he's on the table, among other things. It looks like the guy is raising a knife down to stab him. So which is inconsistent with how Egyptians would record embalming. Either they're already entombed on the table or they're lying flat like they're dead. So I would say that that's an inconsistency with the Book of the Breathings only interpretation.
Right,
and I'm not gonna... We'll go ahead.
Since we have someone who is Jewish here, Amy, have you ever heard of the Book of Abraham as a Jewish text?
Ha.
I'm not sure Amy's available right now.
Yeah.
No, I am. Sorry, I was listening while I had my...
Take care of that.
But I would say there are numerous texts within Mormonism that...
Book of Abraham, I don't think is regarded by Jews.
Would not be accepted.
Apocryphal.
I mean, he was a character, but there was no Book of Abraham.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing there's any canonical writings. Like, I mean, that's why Joseph Smith would have written it in the first place, is that he would say that that's a new writing being revealed by him that was lost at some point in history. And so, like, it's been a long time, and I'd have to pull it up, but there are apocryphal writings, like, that talk about, like, oh, well, what did Abraham do in between all the stuff that happened in the Bible? Like, he took his father Terah out, or no, not Torah, Terah? Yeah, Terah, that's what it was. He takes his father Terah out of Ur. They go to do their thing, but actually Terah rebels and turns against him, and a whole bunch of other things that, like, I don't have the sources on me, but as I recall, the apocryphal writings do match up with the not perfectly, of course, but tons of correlations with the Book of Abraham as a text. But yeah, canonically, I'm not going to say that they existed.
Unfortunately, I've been trying to bring up a combination of or rather, a side-by-side comparison of the facsimile, the actual translation and Joseph Smith's translation. I have not been able to find that, just even though it's available on the internet. But
yeah, and like I'm not,
and
like,
it just doesn't match at all. It
Well, yeah.
doesn't even go into like what you're going into. It's just, it's like the first line is grant that this soul can breathe in the underworld. And let me bring up what the translation is in the Pearl of Great Price, according to Joseph Smith.
Like, I'm not arguing that the Book of Breathings is the first half of that scroll. I'm not contesting that whatsoever. Okay, what I'm saying is that there was a, second half to the scroll that was lost in the Great Chicago Fire, that is the Book of Abraham. So you'd take, like, it'd be like Genesis and Exodus. Okay, I like. If Joseph Smith like Genesis and Exodus didn't exist in the canon, okay, but Joseph Smith uncovered a copy of Exodus. He found Exodus, but the copy that he has only looks like it comes from Genesis. Then like we wouldn't be able to say anything about that. But like it would have both. It would have the Book of Breathings and it would have the Book of Abraham after the Book of Breathings.
So your claim is we have a text that just got lost to history.
Yes.
You understand why that's unfalsifiable, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not our fault. The Great Chicago Fire happened. Like, I would love it if we had the rest of the scrolls so we could actually, verify these claims. But like, it's not like there's some grand conspiracy where Mormons started the Great Chicago Fire so that no one would be able to see the rest of the scroll of the Book of Abraham came out of.
What it sounds to me like it's a post hoc rationalization after Joseph Smith got caught being unable to translate it. Probably started by Farmer Fairs, one of the two Mormon apologetics organizations.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I would say it's an apologetic. You would say it's a post hoc rationalization. I mean, it is.
Well, the two aren't mutually exclusive.
Sure.
An apologetic is a defense of the deface, and it can be a post hoc rationalization.
Sure, and I'm not arguing that, like, what we do, what anyone who tries to defend a claim is that they try and come with evidence for that claim, and if evidence comes short, you try and justify why that claim that you're still trying to put forward is still true.
But you can't do that.
Well, and so again, yeah, we don't have any physical evidence other than the facsimiles that we have, and so we can't use that since the Great Chicago Fire happened. So we have to, again, we have to look at what the text says and see if that. The next step would be to correlate that and see if that matches with the apocryphal writings that we do have of Abraham.
Which I don't think it does. However, I forgot what I was going to say. However, what you're doing is it a logical fallacy? Is essentially a logical fallacy. And now I remember what I was going to say. Have you ever heard of Hitchens' razor?
Hitchens' razor, not that one. No.
You are asserting something without evidence, so we can dismiss it without evidence.
Well, okay, and so yeah. I mean, by all means, like, dismiss the claim. Like it is a justification. Okay, it is a reason why. Okay, now the Great Chicago Fire happened. That wasn't started by Mormons. It just it was lost to the annals of history. And so, like, yeah, I mean, that bit is without evidence. And so again, I'm asking for the other claim that we do have evidence of, which is the apocryphal writings of Abraham.
Your claim we have,
and if they correlate, then you can say, okay, well, at least Joseph Smith wrote something that is very similar to other stuff that also tell a claim to be telling the same story.
But he wrote something the Book of Mormon is very similar to the views of the Hebrews. Does that mean the views of the Hebrews is true then?
I mean,
what's does it mean more likely that Joseph Smith, because we know that particular book was in the Palmyra Library in New York in the 19th century, is it more likely that Joseph Smith translated Reformed Egyptian, or Joseph Smith, we know he was fairly imaginative, he wasn't stupid, he was just not educated, and he probably drew from that book to write the narrative for the Book of Mormon.
Well, okay, and so, like, if as I recall, the view of the Hebrews, I'm probably eventually going to read it if it's not a really boring read, but it says that, as I recall, that a group of Israelites came over to the New World and did their thing. Now, as I recall, it was like 150 or 200 pages, or some significantly shorter text one than the Book of Mormon, which is about 562 pages or something like that.
I just say around 600.
Yeah, and so the book that he'd be pulling from is significantly shorter than the one that he eventually ended up writing. It, as I recall, the claims are that the View of the Hebrews only paints these broad, like it has broad themes like Jews coming to the Americas and building a civilization, but none of the actual like in-depth context that would be required in order for Joseph Smith to be using it as a massive source of inspiration. Third, we have
hold on now. I think you're misunderstanding something about how artists work. Views of the Hebrews can still be a massive source of inspiration for his work, even if it's not as long. It's clear that some of the elements were likely drawn from Views of the Hebrews. It's not the only possible source. And as I pointed out, Joseph Smith was very imaginative. He was also intelligent. He just wasn't educated. He was capable of making up details if he needed to.
Yeah, and so that is a claim that can be made. But what the specific things that Joseph Smith was able to do when he was translating when I say he was translating, you would say dictating a imaginative retelling of the View of the Hebrews, is, for one, there are no historical evidence that he was ever found using any extracurricular works like the View of the Hebrews. He would have been extensively studying the Bible, absolutely, but outside of that, no one ever claims that he has manuscripts, that he's copying down ideas, that he's trying to remember these things, that he's reading from the View of the Hebrews or any of the other works that people say he pulled all this information from. And secondly, he was able to do all this not by personally writing it down, not by slowly, meticulously doing it out. He did it by dictating.
By looking into a hat.
Yeah, by looking into a hat, by dictating chapters at it, multiple chapters at a time over the course of 6 months, a very, very short span of time. None of the words that were done in the Book of Mormon were ever moved around, as in or places moved to another thing. Different words were changed at certain times to better approximate meaning, but they were never moved to be more grammatically correct or to be more anything like that until way later on. So he was able to tell a coherent story while staring into a hat and just dictating to a scribe, which is incredibly impressive all by itself.
He was making stuff up while looking into a hat, essentially, is what you're saying to someone who doesn't believe in the Searstone story.
Well, sure, he was essentially writing a coherent story that internally matches up pretty much perfectly. Okay, that
really, with the Bronze Age submarines?
Well, what?
Have you ever read closely the Book of Ether?
Yeah, I've very much read the Book of Ether.
The Bronze Age submarines don't float.
What submarines don't float?
The way he describes the barges in the Book of Ether says they go underwater. Let me see if I can bring it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily, when he said they're tight under a dish, yes, obviously they would float if they have, if they're tight, they would. It
had holes on the top and the bottom. It had no lights, and it was clear from the text that it was supposed to spend time underwater. How would they know which door to open when they surfaced? And we know that the Babylonians did not possess submarine technology.
Well, it never claims that they possess submarine technology. One, it claims that God told them how to make the boat, like the same thing he did with Noah.
If you read the text, the way it's written, they're submarines. They're designed to go underwater.
Well, yeah, they're designed to go underwater. Sure, I'm not arguing.
So, just admit they're submarines because that's what a submarine is.
Well, okay, they're made to have the water wash over them to be, completely submerged for periods of time. Yeah, I'm fine with that. God can tell people how to make a submarine. Okay, I'm fine with this.
So you're saying there had to be divine intervention for ancient Babylonians after the Tower of Babel to do something we know they didn't do.
Well, that's what he did with Noah, or at least that's what, the Bible claims he did with Noah. That's what, the Book of Mormon claims he did with Nephi. And I'm pretty sure that God tells them how to make the boats that were tight like unto a dish as well.
I think if I remember the Nephite story, it was not, they didn't go underwater.
Well, no, they didn't go underwater, and I don't think that they needed to, but specifically, like, the way that he made the Jaredite boats was that they were going underwater. Okay? Like, he doesn't need to make every boat exactly the same. The boat that he made for Noah needed to be able to allegedly hold, tons and tons of animals.
But we also know Noah didn't exist.
Well, okay, and that's a claim that attacks the whole of Christianity. And so...
Well, it depends on how you view it. I mean, I view the flood story as a metaphor for what exactly I don't know, but I don't take the flood story literally. Now, Beamsy brought up a good point here, that it was a submersible, technically not a submarine. And Mark Reid, if it was a submersible, I don't believe they have to be powered, but I'm not entirely sure. I guess it just depends how it's set up. You think I would know more after all the stuff going on about the Titan in the news?
I know. That was honestly hilarious on so many levels. But
I don't think, well, it was engineered poorly. I don't think the Logitech controller was bad. So, as someone else, and you pointed out there were no changes in the Book of Mormon, looking at a Mormon source here, and I think this is what you're trying to get at, there are over 4,000 editing corrections from the Book of Mormon.
Yes.
Since its first publication in 1830. Now, one of the corrections that I wish I still had a copy of my pre-1982 version of the Book of Mormon is about the Lamanites and how
they were
cursed.
Changed from like black or like from white to pure or whatever.
The text originally reads that says if they repent, their skin will become white and delightsome. It's been changed in later editions to pure and delightsome.
Yeah.
Now
and
that doesn't make
not everywhere that it says white was changed to pure. There's like some of them that still say white and some of them that still say pure. Go ahead.
That alone doesn't make Mormonism false, but it does show that Mormonism had a racist past. Now, my father had a book. He had 2 physical copies of it called The Church and the Negro. If he kept it, it's actually worth quite a bit of money because the church tries to deny it ever existed. But now, it's still part of Mormon doctrine that black people were pre-existent fence sitters. Although I think they're not pressing it anymore.
I don't think that's part of Mormon doctrine.
It was.
I've never heard that. It was, yes. It's not right now. I've never heard that.
A lot of times in Mormon doctrine, they'll just let things die quietly and not pretend they never existed. And that's one they should probably just say we were wrong for believing this.
I'm pretty sure that they did, but I mean, if they didn't, I mean, that's fine. Like it's absolutely not taught today, and it's not understood to be that way right now. And I'm not going to argue. Like, the Brigham Young and a lot of the people after him were absolutely racist. And then, some of the people that followed Brigham Young, they didn't try and change what he did because, they figured that, he's a prophet and, he probably knew what he was talking about. And so, we're not going to actually investigate the claims that he did.
Hold on. I just want to address something in the chat here. DeFreak, the Mormons believe that we always existed and there's a pre-mortal existence. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And so, real quick, like the LDS claim was that, we translated these documents from ancient peoples. We know for a fact that, everyone prior to like the 1930s were incredibly racist. And so the fact that we're like, Moses was incredibly racist. All of the Israelites were incredibly racist. They were constantly trying to genocide like every people group that surrounded them. Like everyone on the planet was racist up until we, made it the cardinal sin of everything. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying like, yeah, absolutely racism is wrong. But if we are claiming to be translating a document from an incredibly like over 1,000 years ago, I am absolutely fine with, there being racist undertones in the text from the people who are writing it because, people generally are racist. Like that's just how they are.
But unlike every other organization that was starting to realize it was wrong, the Mormons were pretty late on changing that. I think 1978.
Yeah, I mean, like again, let's I mean, for one, we're a unique case. Like, the reason we don't have crosses is because, all of the Protestants in the area that we came from in, the Northeast refused to use crosses because they had connotations with the Catholic Church. And then when we moved out to Utah, we carried that tradition with us until, like, we were the only ones left that didn't change their mind on crosses. And so, we were the only ones doing that. And so it's a similar thing there. Like, we were an incredibly isolated community for like 100 years or more. And like, since there was no reason for us to change our doctrine because we weren't really expanding into areas where, Black people had any influence, like we, just kept on as we kept on. But yeah, in the 1970s, there was a civil rights movement. In the 1970s, we were expanding rapidly in South America and in Africa and all these places. And it was becoming really asinine to say, well, this guy's 1/4, Negro or whatever. Like, obviously, therefore, can he take the priesthood since he's, only a quarter Black? Can this other guy do this? I'm sorry, go ahead. What was that?
And I'm sure it was purely coincidental at the same time there were NCAA teams threatening not to play basketball with BYU.
Yeah, I mean, there were a host of reasons that they would have gone, okay, well, let's look at the historical claim let's look at the claim that Brigham Young made that Black people should not have the priesthood. He never claimed that it was revelation from God. Brigham Young never claimed that. People after him claimed that because, they said, no, Brigham Young got it, and Brigham Young was a prophet. But Brigham Young never actually claimed anywhere that it was revelation from God. He said, based on my authority as a prophet, as the leader of the church, I say this, and therefore it's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, obviously we made a mistake. Unfortunately, we're a human organization, and that does happen. And I hope that we'll be better in the future.
And you were bringing up, someone was bringing up something now. Are you going to say that the reason, like, Native Americans show absolutely no trace of Middle Eastern DNA is because that line was all wiped out, even though, according to the Book of Mormon, it should be available?
Well, I mean, like, for one, like, yeah, so essentially the claim in the Book of Mormon is that the Nephites were the group that, interbred with each other and that, would have kept their genes alive. The Lamanites were everyone else. And so when people, interbreed with the surrounding people, like, they're like, the genes are very easy to get lost in the muck. And then, like, the group that, claim to be kept pure, like Mormon. I was actually reading in the Book of Mormon earlier today. Like, Mormon claims, yeah, I'm a pure Lehite or whatever. Like, I'm straight from the loins. And so the group that would have been,
except for the period 200 years where there weren't any groups like that.
Except for the period of 200 years where there
period of 200 years when there weren't any manner of ites in the lands in
yeah. Right, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the claim he makes in 3rd Nephi like 6 or whatever. Mormon talks about that. But putting that aside, like the people that were keeping themselves, separate were wiped out, 1. But 2, the people that were inbreeding with not inbreeding, but interacting with the surrounding everyone else, and so the genes very easily could have gotten lost in the kerfluffle. 3, we don't exactly know where the Book of Mormon takes place, and so when we study the Navajo, or we do genetic tests of the Hopi or the other people like that, if those aren't the places where they came from, that's not where we're going to find them. And 3, the disease, the conquest, the absolute slaughter of all the native populations via Columbus, via like the introduction of all these things, that's another massive genetic bottleneck, which means a ton of genetic material would have been lost.
Okay, that's actually not entirely true, because the Spanish brought smallpox. It did wipe out a lot of the population, but the Spanish also interbred with a lot of those groups in South America.
Well, that's even better. Like the Spanish.
That would not remove traces of Jewish DNA.
Well, no, like I'm not saying.
But I wanted to come back to. Sorry.
Oh, really? Wanted to come back. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to come back to another point.
Well, actually, what I'm going to say, to preface that, we have 10 more minutes, and then I will give you both outros, and then we're going to wrap up the whole show, because it's going to be 3.5 hours. But because you have a new point, and it's on the tip of your tongue, right back to you, Sinister.
All right. I wanted to ask you something, going back to a point, because
The Jaredites, all except one person, according to the Book of Mormon, were wiped out.
Yes.
The Nephites were also wiped out. The battles where both of these civilizations ended supposedly took place on the same hill, using weapons of iron and steel, which we know didn't exist in the New World.
Did they use weapons of steel? I don't recall them using.
The Book of Mormon does say they did.
Well, yeah, it says they used weapons of
Hold
steel
on.
in like the first 200
If-
years, but not in the last.
I
battle.
would think the Jaredites probably didn't. It would probably be bronze. But if this were the case, that these two civilization-ending battles were fought, shouldn't that have left some evidence somewhere?
Probably, yeah. Do we know
So
where that
if we-
somewhere is the question. That's
we-
the main claim.
If we know it wasn't where Joseph Smith was claiming, these were literally Hill Cumorah, New York. I've been there a couple times. I've seen the Hill Cumorah pageant that they used to put on. I wish they hadn't put that off because it was a great outdoor pageant, if nothing else. And I know now they've tried to say it's in a different area and they don't know where, just because there's no evidence that the Book of Mormon happened anywhere. So if you can find that evidence, great. You have some evidence for the Book of Mormon, but you have too much evidence pointing against it. Not to mention, I have something here, and I'm just going to let you get in after this, about Joseph Smith's 1826 trial, where in 1826, Josiah Stonewall hired Joseph Smith to help look for lost Spanish silver near the border of New York and Pennsylvania. Someone in the community but basically, he gets arrested and charged on a gold digging scheme and gets convicted. This shows that he has a history of a con man, at least before he writes the Book of Mormon. Now, afterwards, we know that he had hard times with being caught, screwing the help. But that does at least show Joseph Smith does have at least a history before writing the Book of Mormon, supposedly, of being a con man.
Oh yeah, and that just because you're convicted of something doesn't necessarily mean that you were necessarily actually did the thing that you were accused of. It just means that you were convicted of it. But putting that aside, God takes the pagan Moses, according to the biblical record, and says, okay, you're going to be my spokesperson to Israel now. And Israel turns away from him the vast majority of the time. They're like, oh, you're the pagan son of the king that has been oppressing us. God takes people that according to the biblical record that are going to be not the best, not the brightest. He uses the weak things to confound the wise, and all of those things, the foolish things to confound the wise. And so I'm not going to argue that in his early days he might have had some suspicious goings on, but I don't think that there's any evidence. The only thing that he would have done after that would have been the building of his religion, and if and he was never really doing anything else outside of that was doing that. So I think God takes wicked people, makes them better, and turns them away from that. So yeah.
Well, it almost sounded like you had a natural in there. Is there anything else that you want to say? And if not, we will either head to outros, or if you don't have, or if that was the outro, you tell me.
Yeah, I can do one last thing unless Sinister one goes first.
Oh no, I was trying to give you the last word because I'm bad about that.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I would absolutely say there's a significant amount of evidence for the LDS faith. There's also a significant amount of evidence against the LDS faith. I've looked at both, and as you can see, I've at the very least known about all the things that Sinister has brought up, and they clearly haven't shaken my faith. And to a certain extent, like Christ says, that faith is required, and so I'm not going to say that absolutely Mormonism is going to be proven. I think if that were going to happen, the golden plates would have been left here on the earth. But regardless of whether or not the LDS Church is true, I do incredibly love the environment that it allows me to grow up in. the values that it instills in me, and the people that I get to interact with, and that at the very least, even if everything else is wrong, I am blessed and edified by that. Thank you for giving me this,
And despite its name, "Come Come Ye Saints" is a beautiful hymn.
Yes.
Absolutely lovely having you here. We're trying to get more theists to come on here, and so thank you so very much. Do you want is Hunter still work?
Yes, yeah, that's fine.
Woo-hoo. Thank you for joining us. And then Sinister, did you want to have, or would you?
Well, yeah, I do have something to say. Now, obviously, I have a different background with the religion, and basically the religion presents a black and white choice, and this is something that is not doing them any favors. And I was presented with a choice growing up, like either Joseph Smith was the greatest prophet who ever lived, either Joseph Smith was a prophet or was the greatest con man who ever lived. Now, that's not really a good black and white choice because no historical figure is that simple. We do know Joseph Smith would join the Masons despite writing anti-Masonic things and flashing a Masonic symbol to try to get himself out of trouble in the Carthage County Jail. We also know that DNC Section 132 was written after he got caught essentially sleeping with the help, and it's where polygamy was revealed, which should also lead to the events leading up to his death and the publication of the Nauvoo Expositor, which he tried to form a militia to destroy, which honestly, some of the charges against Joseph Smith on that were trumped up because it was not treason, but he was building a militia. He had threatened to use it against governments in the past, but the relationship between the Mormons and the places they were at was complex, and you can't say that the Mormons were entirely innocent, but it wasn't one-sided either. But for me, there was plenty of evidence that the church, with that black and white dilemma presented, was, if I had to go with that choice, was that Joseph Smith was a con man. But I've mellowed over the years. It's like, if Mormonism works for you, as long as you're not oppressing LGBT people like the church is, I don't really care. It's like, just as I say, be excellent to each other, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Woohoo! Thank you both, Hunter and Sinister, for coming on and having a good conversation, good back and forth, and please, both of you, keep on coming on. But James, I think I'm going to hand the keys over to you before I just blab about shilling.
It turned into a good episode there. So thanks, Hunter and Sinister, for having a good discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
Woo-hoo!
Way better than a lot of the ones I have on Discord. Those are usually terrible.
Got a little toxic there.
And feel free to join our Discord, the Skeptic and Ranting Discord, at the link below. I want to get ranks like politics and religion. That's the last thing. I keep on saying it. I need to summon Math Pig. Let me see if I say Math Pig 3 tigs. Math Pig. Math Pig. Math Pig. I should just ask Titan to talk to Math Pig and then blah, 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 blah. Simpler than a god, folks. It's electronic devices. Anyway, I hope you did have some fun on this episode of Impromptu Debate You, Season 1, Episode 8. But the topics will soon be in the title, because we talked about subjects, went to Discord, and had some debate fun for an impromptu good time. I forgot to send my Shilla type. Everyone likes to hear clickety clack. It's the hottest thing. Oh, then
I'll get over it.
The freak, if you want to know like the really specific Mormon doctrine, you won't find it in the Book of Mormon. I would go with the Doctrine and Covenants and Pearl of Great Price. But keep in mind, like all religions, it changes over time. And
If you would like to get sponsored by people related to lizard people who eventually get access to lasers, everyone wants access to lasers. If you would like to make a podcast, I will produce you. People like that producing people, never heard that stereotype before. Anyway, you can see it in the chat, sending so much love. Math Pig changed his name. He was on Gur a few nights, but what's his new name? Is it Bacon Algebra? I'm here all night, folks. Please tip your waitress. Math Pig's a good guy, though. He sets up great Discord servers. What was a shilling? Boo. Though I do want to thank my co-host James W. along with our fantastic guests Hunter and Sinister Porpoise. I want to also send a shout out going in with us out there to Sumami and Beamsy. But as well as all the people in chat, our awesome mods who make this stream so great. And of course, lovely viewers like you who make this stream even possible. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to probably hear this in your sleep, but hit the like button. It makes it go into the algorithm, and then Mio can watch us in the Matrix. Follow on twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. What is up, everyone in the Twitch community? I got to start pumping more things on there in Flare. And the Minecraft streams, they are now within the weeks because I've been getting all the stuff all collected, which is skeptic theme, because why not? Have people argue while you play video games. And then subscribe. Holy moly, right there, that button. When you hit subscribe, you join the Skeptic and Ranting community family, as well as hitting that bell icon so you see the premieres and join our live streams. Because if you ask yourself, I hit the subscribe button, but none of the content is coming to my feed, which is what that word is. Well, it's because you haven't hit that bell icon to all. In fact, there's 3 levels. There's like, I just am doing this because grandma told me. And then there's like, I think I'm kind of interested in this. And then there's really interested in this. Thank you, YouTubes. Anyway, they're all going to be one company one time. Like, it's going to be friggin' YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Exactly. Sponsored by Amazon. Anyway, you can also, or hey, this person actually joined this. This person doesn't exist. What voice am I even doing, James? It's just me.
Hey, get ready for the news.
You could also leave a comment when the video is done. You can't leave a comment right now because there's chat. Hi, chat. But once the video is done, you can leave a comment or you can leave a super thanks. And we're so thankful to you, especially all of the people who gave all of those super chatters, just sending a special love, as you can see me stalling, to Disciple Day and Sinister Porpoise and Native Atheist and Ian Davenport, sending so much love to the entire Skeptic Ranting community. Along with our fantastic channel members, which you can find with our Discord in the description below. It has our evolving badge system, so when you join, you get a badge, but then that badge just naturally evolves, and they say evolution isn't real. But the best way to help us and get some unique perks is by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Oh, and the music. I spent all this time. I've updated it, but still with all this, so you do get your free boop to boop shoop a doop music. Doop shoop da boop boop. Shaboop a boop. Shoop doop boo boo.
Oh.
Shoop doop a boop boop. The boop of Grumpy, Diana, Scott, and Ian Davenport, and Pat Lowinger. Send in so much love. Dale and davegar, Regos, Mark and Farron, Salis. Send in so much love. Rachel Martin, Roger James. Totally was looking for this earlier and couldn't find it, but it got better because send it all the night. And I see all of you. Woo!